Oh, I saw a little bump. Oh, yeah. Let's see, what are our stages tonight? Inkblot. Ugh, Clam Blitz. I mean, Splat is in the open. That's not bad. Oh god, is this still our... Oh, yeah. Ooh. Gosh, this is still our outfit. Look at him, little bub. I just realized I never talked about the amiibo. Yeah, they finally announced the, Splatoon amiibo release date. It's, like, next month. It's, like, November 11th or something. Luga... Okay, that's it. That's the only weapon I get. Bucket, forge, a latch... Ooh. Ooh. Let's see what else we got. I don't really like Respawn Punisher. Special Saver... Catalog level went up. I got some things. I don't own a single one of these. They'd cost me almost all of my money, so maybe we'll come back and get that at the end. Is that a shiny sticker? I cannot tell. Is that a sports... Oh, wait, is that the volleyball game from the previous from the first Splatoon? There was a volleyball game, right? That sounds right in my head. We're gonna buy these sunglasses. I was going to equip them. I didn't. Oh, because we also have these sunglasses. Okay. Ooh. How interesting. Huh. Oh, that's amiibo gear. Okay. That's also amiibo gear. God, we can make a mess of an outfit tonight. I mean, we always do, but... What else is new? Yeah, sure, that's fine. Flings a roller is... Actually, we're gonna buy a carbon roller. While I'm here thinking about it. Give me a carbon roller. Might as well. Might as well. I have not played this game in, what, a week? Oh yeah, there's this whole thing going on with Big Run right now, where people are, does Big Run exist? Because I guess there was like something with like the servers being down, and does Big Run exist? And basically, we don't know. Like, to make a long story short, we just don't know. So Big Run... Ooh. I've got some, like, mucus in my throat. Ugh. So the rumor is Big Run is, like, this mode that supposedly takes place on, like, one of the, like, battle stages. Specifically, Wahoo Wahoo World, the amusement park stage. And it's called Big Run. And, right, it takes place on one of those levels, and you're going around, and, right, you're fighting off salmon heads, and there's, like, supposedly a reference to, like, a new salmon head boss and stuff like that. And so with the servers having been down for the game recently, not for, like, maintenance, but for, like, some other weird reason, people have been wondering, like, oh, are they finally going to announce Big Mode? And so far, nothing has happened. So, yeah, that's what Big Mode is. It's one of those things that people are wondering, like, hey, is this going to be a thing? And so far, we do not know. It would make sense if it was a thing. Alright, it would make sense if Big Mode was a thing. But we don't know. We just straight up do not know. I do think it is going to come, though. Especially because we do have the amiibos next month. So it would make sense if we get some sort of new update next month-ish, but we shall see. Okay, this is an auto-bomb weapon. Okay. I'm literally just I'm just trying to get random gear leveled up. I mean, I still haven't used my sea snails. I mean, if it's anything like Splatoon, I'll end with the game with 300 of them. I have no idea how I ended Splatoon 2 with 300 sea snails. No, something must have happened at some point to, like, double them. Because I do not remember having 300 something something. Like, 100 maybe, but 300? Glob, no. So, yeah, well, we'll see. So this week for In Chat, it's a very light In Chat. There's not much news. I mean, there was some stuff I just don't give a shit about. Specifically, the Resident Evil presentation. I knew the Resident Evil presentation happened. I could not tell you what happened in it. Did not watch it. Do not care to watch it. Honestly, Resident Evil just doesn't appeal to me. I know they showed off Resident Evil 4. And I like Resident Evil 4. It's one of the few Resident Evil games I've actually played. You know? But seeing Resident Evil 4... Yeah, seeing Resident Evil 4 just does not appeal to me. Like, you know what? I'm good. I don't know. That's one of those games that I'm sure holds up fine. But I also, like, it would not surprise me at all if that game doesn't hold up at all. Kind of like Destroy All Humans. Right? I wanted Destroy All Humans to be good. But it does not surprise me at all that that game does not hold up. I did really like it, though. Specifically the second one. The first one, But I did like the second one. Honestly, last-ditch effort really isn't helping. Maybe things would be going better if I was... I mean, maybe in, like, Splat Zones things would be a little different, but in Turf War, yeesh. That takes care of that. I don't know. Honestly, I really should be putting more focus on more of my gear. But so far, I'm just leveling up gears. I don't know. There were supposedly, like, people had found ways to, like, get, like, not infinite gear, but, like, there are certain ways to, like, get good gears. And I really should be doing something like that. Especially before whatever the next update is, assuming they do not patch it out. Right? To, like, force the game to give you the exact type of gear you want. Right? Play the lottery odds in your favor. But I don't know, it's just something I'm not worrying about at the moment. I don't think we might have done okay, but... Oh, yeah, okay, we did good. I didn't know how much we kept of their side. I don't know. Is there anything else? There were probably other things. Like, I know there was a God of War preview for God of War Ragnarok that I did not watch. I did watch the Pokemon one, and we will be talking about that. But I did not watch the God of War one, so I have no idea what's going on in the God of War verse. Anything else? Anything else we're not talking about this week? Not that I can think of now. Oh, I didn't put Bayonetta 3 on here. Shit. Yep, I completely forgot to put Bayonetta. So, the drama with Bayonetta 3, with Helena Taylor, right, claiming the studio only wanted to pay her $4,000. That was her claim, right? Well, since then, articles have come out from reputable sources like Jason Schreier, who have said that no, according to people in the company, she was offered $4,000 per session, which would have probably amounted to at least $15,000. Which, I mean, it doesn't sound like an insane amount to me, but, like, especially when you hear what, like, AAA actors get paid and whatnot, that doesn't sound like an insane amount of money to me, but I don't know. Again, video games, it's complicated. And that basically, right, they offered her that amount originally. And she said no, and instead wanted a six-figure salary. That's what she responded back that she wanted a six-figure salary to reprise the voice of Bayonetta. Plus, she also wanted royalties, which is a whole other thing that I'm not going to get into. But right, those were her demands. And eventually negotiations just fell apart. They told her no, and they hired a new voice actress. And they did, after these reports came out, the Platinum Games put out an official statement, along the lines of like, yeah, we support the new voice actress. So yeah, that was the whole story. So is Helena Taylor lying? Are Jason Schreier / all the other news outlets that covered this, are their sources wrong? We don't know. We don't know, but it's... I mean, I was still inclined to believe Helena Taylor, because you hear stories about voice actors getting mistreated all the time. So, right, her being mistreated doesn't surprise me at all. But she could be lying, right? It's still... Yep, it seems more likely that she is. So yeah, overall, things are a mess. But yeah, that was the Bayonetta story. I was going to talk about it, and then I just completely forgot. Oh, hey, Pookie, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. So instead, we'll get into our actual first story, which is Silent Hill. So there was a Silent Hill showcase this week, which, well, the first thing was that they announced the Silent Hill 2 remake being made by Bloober Team. So this was rumored a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, it came out that, yeah, the Bloober Team is doing a Silent Hill 2 remake. Alright, so as the rumor goes, originally they came out and Bloober Team was like, oh yeah, Konami was gonna let Bloober Team make their own Silent Hill game. So they started their own Silent Hill game that was codenamed Dumb Spyro. And supposedly it was so bad that Konami canceled the project and instead had them working on Silent Hill 2 remake. Because, you can't mess that up. They might find a way. Life finds a way, but we'll see. I'm home for the weekend, so I can really happy being able to relax. College is rough. Yep, college is rough. Takes a lot out of you. Yeah, that's good. You know, sit back, relax, play some videos game. Yeah. Yeah, I have not been playing any videos game. I remember being so excited when Splatoon 3 came out. I was playing it every day, and I haven't touched it in a week. I mean, I was playing it every day for a while. Mario Kart? Yeah, Mario Kart's fun. I used to be so good at Mario Kart. I used to be so good, and then I didn't play it for like 5 years. And I was so bad at it when I mean, I got all the trophies and everything. But like playing online, I used to be so good online as well. And now I'm just not. So yeah. So Bloober Team is making a Silent Hill remake. Now, Silent Hill 2 specifically. Now, Silent Hill 2 is considered one of the best games of all time. People love Silent Hill 2. I've never played it, so I wouldn't know. But I really want to play Silent Hill 2. It sounds like a really good time. Of course, actually getting a copy on the PlayStation 2 costs hundreds of dollars, right? It's a very expensive game to find. And then they remade Silent Hill 2 a few years ago, but when they remade it, the remake sucked. So yeah, the Silent Hill 2 remake was not very good. But you know, I have hope that maybe this new one will be. You know, I'm sure Bloober Team can find a way to screw it up. But, you know, maybe they'll do a really good job. Because it's a really good game. I'd like to hope. Mario Kart is like my life. It's a go-to thing. I can play online. I'm at home, but I stay on campus. The college Wi-Fi sucks. Oh, yeah, college Wi-Fi sucks. Definitely. I mean, sometimes it's okay, you know. I used to have a problem where one of my classes was in, like, a certain building. And that building, I just could not get Wi-Fi in if I turned on my computer in that building. So yeah, if I turned on my computer in that building, it would not connect to the Wi-Fi. But if, let's say, I turned it on in, like, the Student Union building, then it worked fine. Then I could take it over and it worked fine. But if I ever turned it on in that building, nope, it just would not connect. I had to connect it somewhere else on campus. And then it would work. It was so annoying. It was so annoying. But eventually I got myself one of those Chromebooks. I got like a Chromebook for like... I don't even think I paid $200 for it. I think I got it on sale for like $150. Worked wonders. Super easy, super convenient. I get why they're giving those to all the public school kids nowadays. Besides for the whole COVID thing. Right, they work, right? You just it's like an old video game console. You just pull it out of the box and it just works. No having to download things, no having to mess with the system settings for doing like classwork and whatnot. Worked perfectly fine. Cheap little investment. Yep. I only got that like as I was finishing up. Because because I used to have I remember when because I'm always distrustful of things like those. Because I remember when the Surface tablets came out, the Microsoft Surface tablets, those sucked. Those Surface tablets that were basically Microsoft's like predecessor to the Chromebook. Terrible. Terrible pieces of hardware. Bloober Team doing Silent Hill 2. I'm excited for. I want Silent Hill 2. I want to play Silent Hill 2. People speak so highly of that game. That's right. It's really good. But it's just not been right. It's only available on PS2 or emulation. And while I am not against emulation, especially in things like, preservation of history and the used game market, I don't know. I've never emulated Silent Hill 2. I don't know. I feel like Silent Hill 2 is one of those games like Mother 3 that I've heard stories about just how, like, you can emulate it, but it's just not, like, perfect emulation. Like, I know with the actual remake of 2, one of the big problems was they screwed up the fog. The game just didn't have fog on it, which was a whole issue. I do remember hearing those stories back in the day. God, that was... I don't know. It's been so long now that I don't even remember all the details. Let's see, what else? So they announced the Bloober Team one. They announced a game called Silent Hill Townfall by the studio No Code. No Code is the studio that made the game Observation, which, while I don't know a lot of details about, I do remember hearing good things about Observation. That sounds right in my head. So yeah, a new Silent Hill by them. I think it was Observation. Yeah, Observation was a good game. I don't know, again, I don't really play horror games, but I don't know, Silent Hill 2, man. When you hear people talk about how good a game is for so long, you just kind of want to give it a chance, even if it's not entirely your style. Same thing with Eternal Darkness. There's another old game that costs a lot of money to find a copy of that will never be remade because Nintendo will never remake it. But yeah, I've heard tons of good things about Eternal Darkness. Even if most of them were, a long time ago. Next up is Silent Hill Ascension, which is a real-time interactive series, as they described it. What entirely that means, I'm not sure. Is it something like Telltale, The Walking Dead? Right, that's what that real-time interactive series makes me think it's something like that. Admittedly, a lot of this information I'm getting secondhand from, like, Wario64 and Nibelion on Twitter. But yeah. And finally, there was Silent Hill F, which was just a brand new game. That's it. That's all the information we got. New Silent Hill game. Don't know any more than that. I don't know. I mean, it's for Konami having only pushed out, like, 2 games in the past, like, 5 years. It's a lot of Silent Hill projects. And none of them are actually being developed by Konami themselves, as far as I know. Because Konami, as a company, only makes slot machines nowadays. They have so many great IPs under their belts, and yet they only make slot machines. And pachinko machines, but those are basically slot machines. I mean, same difference, right? Gonna wreck it. Pull the lever. That was the thing. It was pull the lever. It's an old Silent Hill pachinko machine ad. Pull the lever. God, I haven't heard that clip in years. I don't think they used it on the I don't think they've used it on the Gymquisition in a long time. I don't know. There might be an upcoming episode of Fuck Konami News. Who knows? So yeah, that's the Silent Hill stuff. Keep it short and sweet. Even though, yeah. So next, let's talk about Pokemon. So the previews for games this week were God of War Ragnarok. So some people got their hands on to play God of War Ragnarok. And Yeah, I'm assuming those all worked out really well. I don't know. I'll be honest, I didn't watch anybody actually play it. I just know it happened. The actual preview I did watch was for Pokemon. So a bunch of people, a bunch of outlets got their hands on Pokemon. The main ones, I think I read the IGN article. I listened to, I think, both Game Explains and Good Vibe Games talk about it. I'm sure there was somebody else I listened to as well, but those are the only ones I remember for sure. So, a bunch of details. And I'll just go over these, because I've got a bunch of them written down. So there's auto battling in this game. It's called Let's Go mode, but it's basically auto battling where you can send Pokemon out and they'll auto battle. And like the example they've been using is the Starfall raids. But right in the Starfall raids, you can auto battle your Pokemon and they'll defeat all the enemies because you have to do like 30 battles in the Starfall raids. I'm calling it raid. Honestly, that's a very loose way of putting it. It's not like a raid and like a Destiny or anything like that. They're not like... Even though Pokemon with raids and puzzles, like Destiny, that would be very interesting. Ooh, I kind of like... And right, in every time the new raid comes out, a bunch of people get together on Twitch to solve the raid. And right, you have competitions to see who's the first who can solve the raid. Oh, that sounds like an amazing idea. And I'd want it to be fucking hard. Because that was one of the things about the Destiny raids, is they were fucking hard. And, like, between Destinies 1 and 2, they didn't like, oh, well, now we're going to make them a little easier at the start of Destiny 2 for all the returning players. No, they just made them even harder. I do remember hearing people talk about that. So yeah, that's a decent idea. But so with the auto battles, people have been wondering if you send your Pokemon out to auto battle and it comes across a shiny Pokemon, will it stop fighting that shiny Pokemon and alert you that it's found a shiny? And we now know that no, it won't. You could find a you could send your Pokemon to auto battle. It could find a shiny and it'll just kill it. That sucks. There's going to be videos of people finding shinies and instantly killing it. And people might, I've seen this one picture of a shiny Skiddo going around. Someone might have even found a shiny while playing at one of these demos. It's totally possible that someone did. But yeah, no, the auto battle won't care about whether it's a shiny or not, which I do think is an oversight. I do think that is an oversight. But yeah, no, that's a thing. They did confirm that shinies appear in the overworld, so it works like Legends Arceus. Because the thing, and I saw someone complaining about that. And Joe Merrick's response was that, oh yeah, in Sword and Shield, shinies still up, all their numbers are still there when they generate in the overworld. You just don't know it. So you have, if you've ever played through Sword and Shield, there's a good chance you have walked past the shiny Pokemon and not realized it because they don't appear shiny in the overworld, like how they do in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and like they do in Legends Arceus. And that sucks. The idea of walking past a shiny and just not knowing it is horrifying. But yeah, I totally believe that. So yeah, I'm glad shinies appear in the overworld again. That's cool. It's a great thing in Legends Arceus. Because I've come across at least 5 shinies just wandering around the overworld. Maybe I was grinding for my Drifbloom and my Haunter. I was not looking for. I just came across while looking for something else. while looking for a different shiny. And then my Starly and my other thing, right? I was just playing through the story mode, and boom, bam, shiny Starly. Bam, shiny, what's the deer? Not Herdier. Stantler. Yeah, I just came across a shiny Stantler. I heard the shiny sound, and boom, shiny Stantler. So yeah, I think it's a great feature. Honestly, I'm amazed it wasn't in Sword and Shield. It's coded into the game, it just doesn't work like that. I mean, like I said, the shiny generation numbers, you just don't see it. It really was an oversight when you think about it. Also, when talking about shinies, there's the whole picnic mechanic in this game, where you can take your Pokemon into picnics, you can give them baths, right, stuff like that. They confirmed that one of the things that you can do at picnics is make a special sandwich that increases your odds of finding a shiny. That's really cool. I mean, I do wonder if the Dex shinies are back, like in Legends Arceus. Because in Legends Arceus, if you fill out a Pokemon's Pokedex entry, it increases your chance of finding it shiny. Right? The more familiar you are with the Pokemon, the higher chance you have of finding it shiny. Great idea. I hope that's back in the new game. We don't know, obviously. But it's a good mechanic, right? So that way, if you're specifically grinding for a specific shiny, well, hey, now you just have to complete its Dex entry, and boom. It's not a guarantee, trust me. But it's a good idea nevertheless. But yeah, you can now, in this new game, you can make a sandwich, and that increases your chance of finding a shiny. Cool. Because I don't think I ever made a single curry while playing through Sword and Shield my first time. Yep, I don't think I made a curry until, like, the post-game. Because I know there's, like, a whole curry Pokedex, because there's, like, 151 curries. Yeah, no, I never messed around with any of that. Now, let's see. So they explain how terastallizing Pokemon works, right? Where you change types. So previously, how it made it sound is like, let's say you have a Charizard. Charizard is fire flying. So you terastallize it to become a fire type. From what it had previously sounded like, it would lose its fire typing, and with it, the fire typing stab, but get an increased fire stab. So, right, like, stab does like 1.5 damage. So instead of having 1.5 fire damage stab and 1.5 flying damage stab, it would just have 2.0 fire stab. Turns out that's not how it works. It does keep its original stab. So, right, it keeps that 1.5 flying even when you turn it into a just pure fire type. It, typing-wise, as far as I'm aware, it stays it loses the flying type, but it keeps that bonus, right, for that same attack stab bonus. So, and even if you change it into a water type, so let's say you make Charizard a water type, well, it gains a 1.5 water type stab bonus, but it doesn't lose its fire and flying stab. So it keeps its previous two stabs. It just gains a new one on top of that, and it's not the 2.0. So yeah, it looks like this terastallizing feature is going to be crazy. Right? It's gonna... I don't think it's going to destroy competitive, but it's going to make things, right, it's going to completely change up competitive. And whereas things like Z moves and Gigantamaxing technically changes up competitive, they weren't really that interesting in my opinion. This seems interesting. This seems like it's going to add a lot to the game. I am actually really honestly, well, I know it's not as flashy as something like Mega Evolution or Z moves. Gigantamaxing just sucked, you know, I'm just gonna say it. I know I'm not alone on that thought at all. Gigantamaxing just sucked. It wasn't nearly as interesting. It wasn't nearly as fun. But this looks cool. It's not as flashy as those other two. And people give Z moves way too much shit. Z moves are good. I'll stand by that. Z moves are a good idea. They're just not always perfectly used. I mean, I think they're well introduced in the story mode. And I know people will be like, oh, well, they just become an instant win button. And, I mean, I guess. I mean, people said the same thing about Megas. They give you a Mega Lucario, and that's it. From there on out, you got the instant win button. And, I mean, I guess I don't really play Pokemon like that. So, I never really felt that way, personally. But, yeah, I guess. But yeah, so the other thing they explained of how the terrestrialized moves work. So you can, like, let's say you go out into the wild, and you have I think the example they used was Armarouge. And you terrestrialize it into becoming, right, to get that 2 times fire bonus. So you make it a fire type. Well, then, you can't actually you can only do it once per battle with 1 Pokemon. So once I do it on Armarouge, I can't do it on anything else. That's how it works. That's how Z moves work. That's how Mega Evolution works. That's how Gigantamaxing work. So that does not surprise me at all. What does surprise me is the fact that if you want to terrestrialize again, you can't just do... Like, so let's say you beat the Pokemon, and then you go on to your next battle. You can't terrestrialize again. Instead, you have to go to either a Poke Center or a Terra Raid Den. And there, it'll, like, recharge/reheal your Pokemon. And so that way you can use it again. So it isn't just, like... It's not like, other... Right, where it's, like, an every battle thing. No, you have to go back to, like, a Poke Center and recharge it. In online battles, that won't really matter much. But in actual gameplay... That makes things more complicated, right? It's not just like, oh, well, I'm going to this gym, right? This grass-type gym. I'm just going to terrestrialize all my Pokemon to be fire types. No, you can only do it once. So it's something you would, I don't know, save for the gym leader or something. That's really interesting. Honestly, I just figured it would work, right, like Z-Moves did, or like Mega Evolution did, where it's just something you get once per battle. No, there are limitations to it. Supposedly. Again, that's how these previews all make it sound. So, yeah. So, let's see. Up next, they explain that while going through the overworld. So, in Legends Arceus, you can, like, find random items. And I think they're in, like, little, like, stars on the ground. I know it also kind of works like that in Pokemon Sword and Shield, where you can find these little, like, stars on the ground. And yeah, that's kind of how they work here. The description, the thing that I've seen it compared to is Xenoblade. That, right, you, like, off in the distance, you see this little, like, glowing light. And you know that's an item, so I better go check it out. And it can just be really addicting to go from little glowing light to little glowing light to pick up items. I feel like Legends Arceus... I feel like there was something else in Legends Arceus. But I don't entirely remember what it was. I just know there was something else. God, I could not get enough hits on him. But yeah, so because I do remember picking up, like, little stars and whatnot, and, like, you'd go to, like, this island, or you'd check under, like, a tree, or behind a rock, and you'd find something. But yeah, so it works a lot like Xenoblade, is the description I keep hearing. So that you know, that makes sense. Especially because you now need these items to craft TMs. I did not hear anyone talk about whether or not TMs are rechargeable. Right, it's like, oh, well, I crafted the Sunny Day TM, so now I just have Sunny Day for the rest of the game. Or if it's a one-time use. I did not hear any of the articles or anything talk about that. But that was something I was curious about. Don't know. honestly, I would say I would be disappointed if it was, oh, you craft a TM, you only get to use it once, and now you got to go find the materials to get it again. Because that's something I hated in Pokemon, is that you get TMs you could use once, and then if you wanted to use the TM again, right, that was it. You were screwed. Like, you get one Earthquake TM, and that's it. And then Gen 5 got rid of that. And all of a sudden, right, because I would just hoard TMs in the same way you hoard, like, ethers, right? Items that you only get one of. Or, like, that you can't buy in shops, I mean. But now, since then, I haven't had that problem. And then they introduced technical records. And I was like, ah, shit, I'm just going to hoard these like a dragon. But then you realize that, oh, well, technical records are, right, once you use them, they break. You can get infinite of them. Because of the max raid dens, there are infinite TRs. And it was like, oh, well, okay, if I can get in, right, oh, do I need a substitute TR? Well, guess what? I can just go do an Unpheasant max raid den and get another substitute TR. Boom, no worries anymore. So yeah, TRs I think worked really well. And I hope TMs either work, right, there has to be infinite of them. Because the Diamond and Pearl remake got rid of that feature, and I never used a TM in that game because of it. I never used a TM in the Diamond and Pearl remake because you only get one of them. Right? And even though it didn't fucking matter, there's no competitive scene or anything, if there's only one of something in a game, I will never use it. So I just straight up didn't use it. Have I gotten this carbon roller to level 2 yet? I've been trying to pay attention, and I haven't even noticed. But yeah, so I don't know. I hope, again, if you can craft them, I want you to make infinite of them. If you can't, well, shit. We'll see. Well, again, if they do the TR system, I think that worked fine. Especially because you need some... I mean, I know we're going to get XP crystals from the Terra Raid Dens. But if they do TRs as well, that'd be good. Let's see. What else? They talked about character customization, in that they're going the route of games like Splatoon or Animal Crossing, where instead of picking your character, right, are you a girl or a boy, instead you just boot up and you get all characters options for all genders. Right? There is no male or female, it's just all options for all genders. Which, that's the future of gaming. I mean, we already know that, but it's great. I like how, I love how Animal Crossing does it, man. Where, oh, you want this hairstyle with this character? Go right ahead. Right? You've got all customization, you can wear all outfits. Nothing. They talked about how clothing, no clothing is gender locked either. So all characters can wear all types of clothing. That's good. Yep, I like that. So yeah, I'm again, we are in the future of customization. You want to play a he, she, a non-binary, it's all yours. Infinite potential, man. It's the future of gaming. And I love it. I love it, especially because you can. It seems like you can customize at any point. So yeah. I mean, it's great, man. You know, I mean, games have been getting better with these things, because gaming is one of the ultimate forms of expression. Companies don't treat it that way. God, no, they don't. But players do. Let's see. So one of the things so there are 18 badges in this game. Not gym badges. 8 of those are gym badges. The other 10 come from either Starfall Street or from doing the Titan battles. So this is interesting. So something I thought would make perfect sense for an open world Pokemon game is, what if the open world Pokemon game just had 18 gyms in it? Right? You have a Pokemon game, you've got 18 gyms, and to challenge the Elite Four, you just need 8. So the world scales around you, and as long as by the time you get to the Elite Four, as long as you have 8 badges, you're good. Doesn't matter which 8. And because the game scales, right? Every time you get a gym badge, it gets a little stronger. You can do all 18. But, right, that always made sense, because there's 18 types, there should be 18 gyms. And it looks like we're getting something like that, at least. Because while there are only 8 gyms, all the stuff in Starfall... During these, like, hour-long preview that people got to play of this game, I guess during Starfall Street, after you beat Melly, she gives you a badge. Right, one of the 18 badges. So, I'm going to guess there's going to be 5 Starfall Streets and 5 Titan battles. And I'm going to get, like, I don't know what type Melly is. I'm going to guess she's either... She has, like, a fire design. So she might just be fire, so there might not be a fire-type gym leader. And instead you just deal with Melly, right? And maybe that Titan, that Cloth, is, I think, a rock type. So maybe after you defeat the Titan Cloth, you get a rock-type badge. So that tells us there isn't a rock-type gym leader, and there isn't a fire-type gym leader. But we know there is a grass, right? The Sunflora guy. So, yeah. Honestly, I think that makes sense, right? Having all the types represented is just a very logical thing that I'm glad they're doing more of. Again, one open world game, 18 gyms. Again, I don't even know, like, that was something I always wanted. I don't even know if I want that anymore. Legends Arceus has kind of changed my whole perspective on things. Part of me wishes there was more, though. Like, if there's only 18 total, I wish there were 8 of each, right? I wish there were 8 Starfall Streets. I mean, if they're fun, assuming they're all fun. I wish there was 8 Starfall Streets. I wish there were 8 Titan battles. Right now, having only 5 of each, well, that might suck. So next up, so this was a pre-release demo of the game, right? This was an early demo of the game, and it seems to have had some problems. Much like Sword and Shield, there seems to be a lot of pop-in, where when you're looking at something from far away, it just doesn't exist. And then when you get closer, it does pop in. And there seemed to have been a lot of lag. Like, so it might have been IGN. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember exactly who it was. But one of the sources described it as one of the most laggy games they have ever played on Switch. So, you know, we really need a Switch Pro. Between this and the new Breath of the Wild, yeah, we really need a Switch Pro. I mean, and Sword and Shield already has its lag problems. God, playing Sword and Shield online, God, that game fucking lags. Yeah, it is not pretty. But yeah, so it's just, now they did a lot of these sources did, at least some of them, that this was a pre-release build. I think there was one source, it might have been Games Radar or something, that people called out for not saying this was a pre-release build when talking about the lag. I don't know if they need to defend it, honestly. It probably wasn't Games Radar. I know somebody got called out about it. But yeah, it does not surprise me at all that this game lags. Not one bit. Hopefully, supposedly it is, like, even in trailers that they've released, it's already better, right? Like, it already is looking better. But the fact that it lags doesn't surprise me at all. Right? Especially with how Pokemon does things. God, I would hope a Switch Pro would help with that. I don't know. If we're gonna get a Switch Pro, it would make sense to get one before Breath of the Wild 2. On the, what would it be, the 6-year anniversary of the Switch? Right? March, getting a Switch Pro right before Breath of the Wild releases in May. Or even, you know, probably better yet, releasing on the same date. May, what is it, like 25th or something like that? Be cool. It'd be cool. Don't see it happening, obviously. But, you know, anything's possible. I tried to cover as much of that as I can. So what else? They talk during... So I point this out. One of my biggest complaints with the Gigantamax raid dens in Sword and Shield is how fucking stupid and useless the AI is. If you're doing a 5-star raid in Sword and Shield, it is impossible to do unless you're playing with people online. And I'm talking, like, I think you can do it with... I've been able to do it with 2, but for mostly you need 3. Because the AI is so fucking stupid. They waste turns. They have weak Pokemon that just get killed. Right? So easily. What they really should have done is after you beat the game, which is when you unlock 5-star raid battles, the other gym leaders in the champion should have shown up in the max raid dens to help you out. As NPCs, right? And using their partner Pokemon. That would have been a great feature. And, you know, it would have led in some, like, continuity to things. And, you know, it would have been neat. Like, oh, you go into this max raid den, and hey, look, there's Nessa with her, Dreadnought. Dreadnought's her one. Right? That would have been cool. But nope, you're just stuck with the same fucking Martin in his Soul Rock. The dumbest fucking Soul Rock ever. That literally does nothing. Or the fucking Clefairy that just uses Follow Me and gets one shot, wasting all 4 of your revives. Right, so... so it's one of the most annoying things about Sword and Shield. At least for me anyways, right? Like, you have to do it online. But one of the things the reps did stress during this is that the AI is better in this game. They made sure the AI was better so that when you're offline and you're doing the Terra Raid battles, you'll have a higher chance of success. And it seems like Terra Raid battles have changed, right? There's like, I don't think there's that shield mechanic anymore, which was super annoying. And instead, just they gave the enemy Pokemon a lot of health. I don't know if there's like timeouts, like, oh, you only can get 4 feints, and that's it if you don't get enough feints. Instead, it looks like, instead, right, it looks like there seems to be more feints, but instead you only have like 10 minutes to do the raid, and if you fail that 10 minutes, that's it, right? So it looks like they've learned a thing or two from the raid dens, which, good. Because the raid dens were a good idea, and they gave you some good rewards. Like, there's a special event raid den going on right now that's got, Glacier and Spectrier, and they give you, like, golden bottle caps and whatnot. That's good stuff. So it looks like they did learn their lesson. It just took them another game. And let's see, the last thing I have is, while out in the wild, they confirm, right, to keep gameplay flow in a certain state, NPCs will no longer battle you when they make eye contact with you. So, right, like, let's say you see an NPC right across from you, they will not battle you. You can just walk by. If you want to fight an NPC, you have to talk to them. Which, I mean, part of me feels like instead of doing eye contact, they could have had, like, a radius. Like, if you get within, like, 5 meters of an NPC, it'll challenge you. That might have been a good compromise. I think that's how, the Misfortune Sisters work in Legends Arceus. If you get close enough to them, they fight you. I don't know, I could be wrong. Honestly, the Misfortune Sisters might just battle you anyways. Right? They might just... I swear it was like, oh, if you get close enough to them, they fight you. But you might have had to talk to them. I kind of don't remember. It's been a while. I don't know, they were something I don't think I came across until the post-game. When all of a sudden, I was just walking around trying to complete the Pokedex, and it was like, wait, why is fucking Coin here? What? And then, yeah, she battles me. It's one of the only NPC battles in the game. And like, that's not like a scripted event. Like, you can just randomly stumble upon Coin and the other two, whose names I do not remember. Coin... I don't know. I don't remember. So yeah, that's all that information. You know, honestly, the game. Oh, barely lost. The game comes out in less than a month now. I'm super excited. I'm so excited to play this game, and I'm gonna put so much time into it. We're going to be streaming it, obviously. And they only explore, like, when exploring the map, they talked about how they only explored, like, the bottom left corner. So there is still a lot more of the map for them to explore. Or I think it was yeah. No, maybe it was the bottom right corner. I don't remember. They only explored a small portion of it. Alright, double food ticket. See any lockers? We have so much more stuff to put in the lockers nowadays. And yet I'm probably not, other than getting the pink squid plush, I'm probably not going to put anything in it. Oh. Look at that one. I like, oh, that's some good style. Sticker man. Ooh, that one's also pretty good. Did I get the carbon roller? No, I'm one battle away from getting the carbon roller. Shit. Okay. So now, we do have more stuff, but last week I hinted at a Pokemon list. That I was making a Pokemon list based on the leaks. So I'm going to pull that up now. So I'm going to pull up my Pokemon list. Oh, shit. Okay, give me a second. Scale. Oh. There we go. So I'm going to put spoilers up. So, spoilers for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Everything we're about to talk about is based on leaks of the game. So these are all leak. The game itself, there was a rumor that the game might be leaked. So far, nothing has happened. I expect the game to fully leak the first week of November. So that'll be in, what, like 2 weeks? But so far, nothing has happened. So there has been no leaks. Like, full on, like, the entire game has leaked. However, there was a leak about 2 weeks ago that leaked every returning Pokemon to Scarlet and Violet. So I saw that leak and was like, well, what does it actually mean? So I made a fucking spreadsheet. You know me, I like to make spreadsheets. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. So I had a spreadsheet that I originally made to keep track of all for a living dex. I made this back in like 2017, right? When Gen 7 came out. So I went in, I added Gen 8 to the spreadsheet, and I made a copy of it. And then I marked down every Pokemon that is in the default game of Gen 7, the Isle of Armor, and the Crown Tundra. With the exception, I counted specifically what was in the Pokedex. So there are no legendaries. I didn't count any of the legendaries. So like Mew and Mewtwo, you can get in Gen 7. Or Gen 8, I mean. Not here. Lugia, Ho-Ho, and I'm pretty sure Celebi, Suicune, Entei, and Raikou. Right, you can get those in the game. They're not counted here. Latios, Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, Jirachi. I don't know about Deoxys and Jirachi. I know about the other ones, though. I'm pretty sure you can get all the others. Dialga, Palkia, Giratina. Right, those are all Pokemon I know you can get. Meltan and Melmetal, yes, obviously. The Ultra Beast, I know you can get the Ultra Beast, especially because I have a shiny Blacephalon. I only counted stuff that's in the Pokedex. Because the Gen 7 Pokedex, or the Gen 8 Pokedex, is fucking stupid and weird because it doesn't count the legendaries in the Pokedex itself. It also doesn't count, like, even these 4 and these 2 technically aren't in the dex, but you can get them, right? Like, a woman gives you a Cosmog. You can get Poipole from a woman. Right. And then I put the Legends Arceus things on here. I didn't mark them because I'm specifically counting Sword and Shield stuff. But they are on here, right? Because you can't play with these in Sword and Shield. But I did put them on this list. So that's the Gen 8 list. So the leak came out of the Pokemon coming to Gen 9. I don't actually have a picture of it. But, so spoilers, full spoilers ahead. I mean, there's a reason all these text blurbs are up for a reason. These are the Pokemon rumored to be coming to Gen 9. At least at launch. Again, okay, if I was smart, I would have differentiated in the Sword and Shield thing. Right? Like, Venipede, Whirlipede, and Scolipede, I would have made a different color. Because they're not in the default game, they're only in the Isle of Armor. But I didn't think about that until after I made the list. After I, highlighted all of these by hand. So, yeah. So, base game, I think, had 300. Maybe a little more than 300. Because the base game had a dex of 400. And, there's not 400 here. There's a good bit, but there's not 400. Or there's not 100 there, I mean. So this is the base game of Scarlet and Violet will supposedly have 100 Pokemon. Or 400 Pokemon. 100, I think it's 103 new Pokemon. And the remaining 297 are returning Pokemon. That's the rumor at the moment. So, right, so you got... God, am I going to read through all of these? I'm not going to read through all of these, okay? I'm making that executive decision. Of course, fucking Charmander, Charizard. And there is some overlap, but, right, just going through this, there are some overlap, there are some returning ones. There are certain things, like, I'm pretty sure Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno are not the original Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno, but the ones from Sword and Shield. Right, the Galarian forms. Same thing with the Cyndaquil line. It's not the original Cyndaquil, it's only the one from from Legends Arceus. So, right, it's the ghost-type Flosion. Same thing with, Wooper and Quagsire are the Palladian forms. And then, where's Quillfish? There's my boy Quillfish. Quillfish is also only the Galarian, or the Hisuian one. So, right, there are certain Pokemon that are here, but only their Hisuian version is here. Not their original version, supposedly. And then, of course, there are Pokemons like fucking... Where is he? My boy Diglett and Dugtrio, who are going to become Wiglet and Wugtrio. It's going to be something like Wugtrio, right? There was an image going around that looked like an evolution of Wugtrio. Supposedly it was fake. Probably was fake, obviously. But yeah, this is everything that's returning. A lot of stuff missing in Gen 5 right here. I mean, and it's funny, I say a lot of stuff is missing. I think Gen 5 has, like, the second most representation of any of these games. But that's because Gen 5 had, like, 151 Pokemon. Right? Gen 5 is the second biggest game, so of course it gets the second biggest representation. Might be third biggest, honestly. A lot of stuff from Gen 6, a lot of stuff from Gen... I mean, honestly, not that much from Gen 7. Like, I feel like there should be more. I also feel like there should be more from Gen 8. Having just come from this generation... I mean, my boy Sizzlipede didn't even make it. Centiskorch, like, they were the boy. we got a Farfetch'd evolution and then immediately lost it. And then all the Legends Arceus, right? Weirdeer, Cleaver, Ursaluna, Basculegion, Sneasler, Overquill, and Enamorus, they all made it in. We already knew this, as well as like Galarian Zoroark and Zorua and Zoroark right there. So yeah. And then, of course, we have the Gen 9 stuff. So these are my guesses at the decks. Right? This is what we know. Sprigatito, Fuecoco, Quaxley, Lechonk, Pawmi, Smoliv, Fido, the Parakeet thing that we don't have a name for, Cetitan, Bellabolt, the coin thing we don't have a name for, the Baby Fire, which is Armaroon and its Rule Edges pre-evolution, the Salt, the engine, both the baby and the evolution that we've seen, Grafferith, the Mouse Couple, Cloth, Wiglet. Again, I'm guessing Wugtrio, Farigiraf, and then, of course, Cyclizard, Crydon, and Miraidon. And honestly, I expect these two to be at the very end. So yeah, those are my guesses for the decks. There was, in the preview, there was a new Pokemon that, like, you see just, like, a little icon of. We have no idea what it is. Based on the rumors, people are guessing it's the Sushi Dragon, but we're not entirely sure. I've seen other speculation as well. I don't know. Honestly, I can't make out the image at all. Yeah, so that's everything in Gen 9. So, of course, I wanted to do some comparisons. This was so much easier said than done. So you got all the lists, right? Oh, this is what's in Gen 8. This is what's in Gen 9. Again, it looks fuller, but that's because it's got the original game, the Isle of Armor, and the Crown Tundra. Even leaving out legendaries. It's got a lot of stuff in it. We'll talk about these in a second. The red. So that's everything. Those are all the comparisons. So I was curious, right? So how many of the, like, 6 possible per row? How many are there? How many are there in Gen... How many are there in the Gen 9? How many are in Gen 8? And then what's the shared? So the shared is... Like, I could use, like, a formula to do this one. Just, like, counting it. These I did manually. So, right, in Gen... Oh, the totals are up top. So, yeah, you see all the calculations, how many there are, and how many they share. Some lines are very full. Others have nothing in it. I think there's only a few places that have all 6. Like right here. Petalil, Lilligant, Basculin, Sandile, Krokorok, and Crocodile. One of the few all 6 lines. $30? Okay, that clearly should be 0. Oh god, don't break anything. Oh god, don't break anything. So yeah, the totals are, right, 503. So between the original game, Sword and Shield, there were 503 returning Pokemon, not counting legendaries. For Gen 9, there are 342. So somewhere, and I can guarantee you my math is fucking off somewhere's in here. I don't think this 342's off. It's more likely that this number is low. It's more likely that this number is low, that I undershot it. And then, of course, there's a shared total of 228. So between the 228, that's how many they share. This number is off somehow. Again, supposedly there are 400 Pokemon in this total in the new decks for Gen 9. So I'm clearly missing something. I don't know what I'm missing, but I'm clearly missing something. Either I overcounted or I undercounted, it's more likely that I undercounted. If I'm just being completely honest, it's more likely I undercounted. Totals per generation. 49 from Gen 1. Of course, Gen 1 gets all the love. In second place, you have 47 from Gen 8. Gen 8's the most recent gen. Honestly, I'm surprised that number's not higher. Given, right, Gen 8 as the most recent generation, it would make sense. Oh, Gen 4 is in third? For some reason I thought Gen 4... Gen 4, right, Gen 4 just got the remake. It makes sense for it to be low. It makes sense for it to be third. I'm surprised it's not higher. Gen 5 is next. Honestly, I would think that would be higher. Just because... right, I think it's higher than we thought. Just because there are so many Gen 5 Pokemon. Gen 5 has the second largest number of Pokemon. Of course it's going to have a lot. Then next we have Gen 7. Then Gen 2. And then tied for last is Gens 3 and 6. So, yeah. So, what about the stuff in the red? So, if you compare these two lists, right? If I were to, like, overlap them, as to be like, what appears in one game, what appears in the other game, there's only, like, 20-ish Pokemon that aren't in either game. So, theoretically, between these two games, if you wanted to create a living dex, you could, with the exception of, like 20-something Pokemon. So, who are those Pokemon? So, it's nothing from the first 4 generations. Between these two games, you can get everything from the first 4 gens of Pokemon. It starts in Gen 5. The Gen 5, you cannot get the Gen 5 starters, Snivy, Tepig. You can get Oshawott, but that's because Oshawott has a Hisuian form. But Snivy and Tepig, nope, they're not in either game. And they definitely aren't, and they're only in Legends Arceus. I know for a fact you can get Victini in this game, because I have a Victini in Sword and Shield. Patrat and Watchog, easily the worst normal starter, right? They pale in comparison to our boy Bidoof. Bidoof is ultimate. Nope, Patrat and Watchog suck. The Elemental Monkeys, people fucking hate the Elemental Monkeys. Personally, I don't really get it. I think they're whatever. But yep, all the Elemental Monkeys are gone. Blitzel and Zebstrika. Honestly, I don't really get this one. I don't know why these guys aren't back. I can't think of any good reason for them not to have returned. Sewaddle, Swaddloon, and Leavanny, right? The fucking bug type, right? Like your Bellsprout, or your, I guess Roserade and Badoo were, even though Rosalia's a Gen 3 Pokemon, they were basically this game's that. Caskin was the bug type. Seedot's the one I'm thinking of. And I guess also Ludicolo. Right, every has that leaf type. They also have the bug, which the bug came back. Scolipede, Whirlipede, and Minipede. Yes, for some reason, again, I have no idea why these aren't back. I don't think anybody hates Sewaddle, Swaddloon, and Leavanny. I didn't think anybody did, but maybe they do. Ducklet and Swanna, I swear Ducklet feathers were in Gen 5. Maybe they're not called Ducklet feathers, because Gen 5 was the generation that introduced the feathers. And I want to say they established that they were Ducklet feathers in that game. And feathers are back. I know you can get them in Gen 5, or in Gen 8. But nope, Ducklet and Swanna haven't returned. Furfrou, this one I totally get. I totally get why they haven't brought Furfrou back. Because Furfrou's whole gimmick is that you can like take it to like a salon and customize it. And so, right, of course they could easily just make one of the random buildings a salon. That, in this one town, and only this one town, there's a salon to customize Furfrou. And honestly, I feel like I swear there was something in Gen 6 that it faded, the customization faded after a while. You don't want to do that, but I see no reason why they get, right, like, it's something that could easily be put back in. I think customization exists in Pokemon Go, so yeah. Hoopa, honestly, I would have thought Hoopa was in Gen 8. I don't know if Diancie is. I know Volcanion is, because I have a Volcanion. The current, if you go to a GameStop right now, they're probably out of them by now, but you can get Volcanion in Genesect right now as the Mystery Gift in Sword and Shield. So I would have thought Hoopa and Diancie are here. But nope, Diancie's in the new game, but not Hoopa. It's really weird. Honestly, out of all these weird fucking... And, like, I know Keldeo is in, right, Keldeo is in in the Crown Tundra. Meloetta's back in this new one. Out of all the weird mythicals, I don't know why Hoopa is the one that gets singled out. It's the only mythical not in between these two games. Then in Gen 7, the Pikipek line, Pikipek, Trumbink, and Toucanon aren't back. I see no reason for these not to be back. Honestly, Toucanon's... I used the Toucanon in my playthrough of Gen 7, the first time anyways. I liked it. Did perfectly fine on my team. It has a signature move that... I want to say it does burn damage. It's a flying type move that does burn damage. It might also do recoil damage. I don't know. It's something like that. Because it's a cannon. Like, literally, it shoots like a missile launcher. It's a pretty... I liked it. And then the last Pokemon is Meteor. I have no idea why this isn't back. You've got me there. It doesn't have a weird gimmick. I mean, yes, its gimmick is like a Shell Smash style thing, but there's no reason for it not to be back. Honestly, out of all these Pokemon, the only one I understand not being back is Furfrou. Just because of its weird gimmick. Everything else, like, I know Watchog and Patrat are stupid. I get it. I know people hate the elemental monkeys. But other than Furfrou, I see no reason why the rest of these aren't back. We do know that Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet's probably going to have DLC. I expect all these Pokemon to be in the DLC. I mean, what else are you going to fucking add in if you're not going to add in these remaining missing ones? Right there. I mean, yes, you can add more from this list. Right? You can bring this 228 up. But every Pokemon should be accessible between these two games. Especially these four that have just been stuck in the box since Gen 7. But yeah, like some of these, right? Like you could use a Ducklet or a Swanna in Gen 6. But nope, these have been stuck there since Gen 7. It's just weird. It's weird, man. But yeah, that's it. Now, if I know I kind of made this apparent last week. Within these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Between these 27 Pokemon is my favorite Pokemon. It's somewheres amongst these 27. So, no wonder I get it now, right? Because when Gen 8 was coming out, there were all these complaints about, like, well, every Pokemon is somebody's favorite. Right? If you're leaving out all these Pokemon, well, somebody's going to miss out on their favorite. And at the time, I was like, you're right. Because, yes, every Pokemon is somebody's favorite. But honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal for me. It was, like, for some people, that was a complete absolute deal breaker. Just killed the game for them. And they would not shut the fuck up about it. But honestly, I was like, I'll just use other Pokemon. But now, a generation later, and out of the 27 Pokemon, of course my favorite is one of the few that didn't come back. Fuck, man. I think I get it now. I'm not boycotting this game. God, I'm super excited for this game. But, like, the fact that out of these 27, my favorite's in there. Fuck, the odds of the draw, man. The odds of the draw. I just got completely screwed over. But, like, even, like, looking at the... Like, sure, I have not been too positive on these new Pokemon. But, like, I'm still... Of course I'm going to play it. Admittedly, I'm mostly going to use new Pokemon. Right? Like, right now, my plan is Sprigatito and Armor Rouge. I'll figure out the rest. Maybe this mouse couple. Maybe this coin. I don't know. Supposedly the coin's going to be a pain in the ass to get. But yeah, no. Somewhere's in here is right. Like, whenever I play a Pokemon generation, I like to use Pokemon from that generation. So if I want to use my favorite Pokemon, I guess I just gotta play that game again. Whatever. I don't know, I was thinking about playing a Pokemon game again. Specifically going back to Gen 5. Because I started up a playthrough of Gen 5, got to like the 3rd gym and then stopped. And I was like, maybe I should pick that up and play through it. But no, I think I'm just going to wait the month for this new game. So yeah, that's my Pokemon list. That's everything I know. Right. I can guarantee you some stuff is off. Either there's some stuff we don't know about. Like, honestly, 342 is a very weird number. Like, if there's 103 new Pokemon, I would expect us to maybe get a round even number that is, right, maybe 450, maybe even 500. So I'm sure there's, I don't know, I would not be surprised if there's at least, like, 5 things missing from this. But I'd also be amazed if those 5 things are, right, like, some of this random shit. And again, I know I'm technically counting legendaries in here. I know, and then there's stuff with, like, Suicune and Virizion, which I'm not going to get into. Because, God, I don't even know. But yeah, I'm sure, and again, this game supposedly will have DLC, so some of this stuff will probably even out. But yeah. Oh, the maps and modes have been updated. Okay, I guess that's a good sign to go back to, freaking, what's it called? But yeah, so that's my Pokemon list. You know, I made this last week. Took me... Luckily, I had the list mostly made. Again, I just had to add Gen 7 Pokemon, and then do the stuff for Gen 9, and then it was just a lot of highlighting. Took me a while to highlight, you know, listen to a podcast, did some highlighting, and yeah. And yeah, it's not perfect, not at all. But, you know me, I make spreadsheets. I've showed off my Mario Kart spreadsheet in the past. Honestly, this is nothing new for me. I'm going to turn off spoilers real quick, because I will forget to forever... See, I accidentally put the spoilers in this screen as well. Honestly, I know I'd been using the rainbow spoiler for a while there. I like this one I made for Spider-Man better. Right? It's more present. Because the rainbow spoiler was just too much. It was... It didn't tell... Like, this, you turn on the stream. You see this. You know shit's up. You turn on the rainbows, right? The rainbow spoiler. Oh, it's a little spoiler in the bottom corner. You'll notice it, but that has presence. Yeah, I made this for Spider-Man. All right, so I guess that takes us into WIBE. Was not paying attention to the multiplayer modes. Tower control and clan blitz. All right, so. What have I been playing? We'll save Batman for the end. I've been playing more Automa Cafe. I've gotten to the point now where, like, I'm beating challenges. I'm just not beating them with great scores. Right? Like, they're basically, you can get 3 medals per challenge. 1 medal is for doing it with, 1 medal is for, right, serving, like let's say the challenge is to do 20 orders. That's 1 medal. So, right, you get the medal for completing 20 orders, and usually that also counts within the budget. Because, like, it won't even let you attempt a level if you're over budget. Right? Like, budget is not a medal. Budget is, like, completing the orders and doing it within budget is required. Ah, shit. So, yeah, that's one of those things. But then the other 2 optional medals are money, or not money, electricity, and food. So, right, electricity is how much electricity does your factory use. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I just completely fuck that one up. Honestly, it kind of depends. Like, sometimes it goes fine and I get all the money I need. Other times I don't get all the money I need. Right? It really does depend on how the level's going. Alright? Or I get, like, with all the electricity, like, there was one level where you have to do, like, you have to complete 50 orders. And you have, like, I think it's, like, 2 minutes to do it. Maybe it's, like, 2:20 or something like that. You have to do it within a certain time limit. I went over electricity with, like, 60 seconds to go. So I was not being the most efficient with my electricity. The other thing is you have to do it within a certain number of, like, food products. So, right, like, you have, like, these things that send out food products. And you have to do it, like, let's say the level is like, oh, do it within 300 food. So you have 300 food to do it in. Again, you can still beat the level if you don't get 300 food. But if you do, right, you get one of the 3 medals. And I can get... some levels I get really fucking close on. There's one level where I could do it in... it wanted me to do 301. I could do it... or it wanted me to do it in 300. I could do it in 301. I should have gone up there. I wasn't... honestly, once I did my first Zipcaster, I completely forgot I had it. So yeah, it wanted me to do the level in 300. I could do it in 301. And I tried to, like, move things around to make it more optimized. Nope, could not get it more optimized than 301. And there, like I said, there was, like, one level where I had to complete 50 orders. And with my setup, I could complete 49. And I just couldn't get that 50. So I had to redo my entire setup to get just one more order. But I did it, and it worked. It was not efficient at all. Because the other thing is, that also doesn't count towards completion, is the game tells you how efficient your creations are. And there are some levels, right, where it's like, oh, this one, you did great here. 100% efficiency. Oh, you did great here. 81% efficiency. Oh, you did terrible here. 41% efficiency. And I'm like, how the hell do I make this more efficient? Like, what did I miss here that makes this so inefficient? I had no idea. Like, legitimately, I was like, what? Why is this so... like, I can't think of a way to make this more compact, more simpler, and yet it's only 41% efficient? What? And, like, one of the nice things is you can, like, save schematics. So I just created this really compact schematic that's like, yep, this will spit out a burger, and I can automatically place it down, and I can fill the restaurants. I can easily change it to put out hot dogs. Everything's pre-coded into it. Super convenient. I created one for French fries, where it's like, oh yeah, instead of having to, you know, code a new French fry machine every time, I can just place down this one that automatically spits out French fries. I've got one that automatically spits out double cheeseburgers. Right? I've been trying to peak my efficiency. And it's funny, because on, like, one level, peak efficiency, right, you could get peak efficiency, and then you could use that exact same schematic on a different level, and it'll only be, like, 60 efficiency. So, yeah, and, like, I know it's like, oh, well, it's because that other level added in this extra, like, there was one level that added it in, like, where you were making, like, combo meals. So it was, like, a double cheeseburger and fries as part of this, like, combo meal. But then so that was the level. And then the goal was to do it, like, using, like, little electricity. But then a later level was like, oh, well, do that. But you also have to make, a hot dog combo, which was just a modified version of the hamburger combo. Right? That was an easy change. And you have to make side salads as well. And somehow just adding those two things took what was, like, it wasn't 100%, but it was, yeah, like 80-something efficiency, and dropped it down at least 20 points. So yeah, I don't get it sometimes. And admittedly, I think some of it. I wonder if some of it's not the fact that I'm not using like at some point you get like the faster conveyor belts, and right, or like you get the faster dispenser. Like the level I was taught that had me producing like 50 burgers. The first time you do it, you have the normal conveyor belt. But then the second time you do it, you get the faster conveyor belt. And then that turns out to be too fast. Because while you're spitting out like a burger every 2 seconds, you're not spitting out tomatoes and buns fast enough to keep up, and your machine just gets clogged with burgers. Or maybe you try to like do equal amounts of everything, and instead your machine just gets clogged up with buns, and it can no longer take in patties. Because, right, machines can get filled up. So it's like, oh, that became a problem. But so far, I'm still enjoying it, you know. It has not scratched my Factorio itch, but I'm enjoying. It's a good puzzle game. It's a good puzzle game. I don't think it's as good as, like, Freshly Frosted, which was definitely, like, a more stripped-down version of, right, Conveyor Belt Factory game. Really good. Freshly Frosted, it's probably going to make Game of the Year list, honestly. And, like, I get it. Like, I'm not the only one who have said that. But, yeah, no, it's a very, very solid puzzle game. So, yeah, Freshly Frosted has been pretty good. And, yeah, Automa Cafe, Automa Chef has also been very good. It has been the game has been good to me. But yeah, I'm starting to like hit that wall of like, oh, now the levels are getting harder. And nothing's broken me so far. Like I've been able to find solutions to all the problems. Yeah. And like there was one level where it was like I was making like chicken wing combos. Where it's like, oh, you make a combo with 2 chicken wings, a fry, and like a side salad in it. It was like a family meal, basically like a KFC thing. And I was like, oh, boom, I got this. Didn't even come close to hitting, like, and you have to do it without using, like, too much electricity at the same time. Never even got close to hitting the electricity limit. I think I think the limit was, like, 50,000. I think I hit 40,000. I think the highest I ever hit was 40,000. Didn't even get close. So that was nice. And luckily I've been able, because the game has like all these coding mechanics in it. And luckily I have been, like, I'm sure you could do some neat stuff with the coding. But so far I have been able to entirely avoid it. But if you're into stuff like that, if you're into like AND gates and if-thens and shit like that, yeah, it's all there for you to use. Not in every level, but in like certain levels. But so far I have just been able to completely avoid it, and maybe that's where, like, some of that, like, 31 efficiency would go up if I were to use AND gates and whatnot. But I have no idea how to fucking do that shit. I barely remember how to do that shit in, what was it, Human Resource Machine? Yeah, I think it was Human Resource Machine. I know technically games like Space Chem and Opus Magnum work like that, but they disguise it. They trick your coding, but you don't realize you're coding. They trick you, and that makes it way more accessible to me. For some reason. I don't know. What else have I been doing? So, the season finale of Make Some Noise was this week. So, Make Some Noise is College Humor's... It was originally one of the episodes of Game Changers. Game Changers is like a game show where the game is different every episode. And in the first season, they did an episode called Make Some Noise with Zach Oyama, Josh Rubin, and Brennan Lee Mulligan. And it's fucking amazing. The original Make Some Noise... That I don't remember what it was called. I wasn't... Noise Boys was the final episode, the finale. But they did 4 of them. And they even got the... for the third one, they even got the sound effect guy from Police Academy on. And it's just... You know, it's an improv show. It started off with them making funny voices. And then it became like image prompts, and then it became like scenarios, and it was just a great idea. The best episodes of Game Changer are those. So, and Game Changer's a fantastic show, but then they spun it off and they made it its own show. And they got other people to come in and guest on. So it's not just Josh Rubin, Zach Oyama, and Brendan Lee Mulligan, even though they do show up. I think that combination shows up twice, and I know Zach and Brennan each show up one more time. But they got other people to come in and guest star on episodes. There's an episode with both Brian David Gilbert and Sungwon. So, and that was a great episode, man. They both fucking killed it. But yeah, it's just a bunch of, and there's a bunch of just random skits. They get it's 3 people a week. There starts off with like solo prompts, then it becomes duo prompts, and then finally 3 people prompts. There's little mini games and whatnot. It's a very simple show, and it is just effectively improv. It is basically just improv. But it's fun. Honestly, it's really fun. Right now, there's all the scandals going on with Rooster Teeth, which I just don't want to talk about. I don't want to talk about it. But, College Humor, meanwhile, just, I guess there was a thing where College Humor came out and was like, yeah, we're going to make strides towards diversity in the future. And yeah, so far, they seem to just absolutely be killing it. I mean, something's eventually gonna break, right? Like, nothing good is meant to stay. Eventually, a ball's gonna drop somewheres. But right now, at the moment, everything's been pretty good. And yeah, Game Changers, Make Some Noise, the spin-off of Game Changers, was fantastic. We know there's another season of Game Changers coming. That, specifically, there was Samurai made a mention on Twitter that it's gonna have, that he was looking for people to do escape rooms for it. So they did a break room in the last season, so escape room sounds like a lot of fun. I don't know, that's still a while away. But yeah, for the moment, Make Some Noise was good. I have not watched the musical show, because the musical episode of Game Changers, Welcome to Mountport, was fantastic. In front of a live studio audience, or official cast record. I don't remember what it was called. It was either live studio audience or official cast recording. I think live studio audience was the Pavlov's Dog one. The break room one. But, I think it was called official cast recording. Great episode, but I have not watched the spin-off of that one. I really should. I really should, because it seems very solid. It seems very solid. I just haven't got around to watching it. And then, God, I still have not finished Dimension 20. Fucking Court of Fae and Flowers. Really good. Really recommend it. It's all fucking, like, is that why people like fucking, what's that British show? Not Great British Bake Off. I totally get why people like Great British Bake Off. Love it. Downton Abbey. I've never understood, the love of Downton Abbey. It's just not, it's not a show for me. But, listening to Court of Fae and Flowers, and dealing with all these, like, rich, pompous people, but they're fairies and whatnot. It's been super entertaining. Court of Fae and Flowers has been fantastic. I still have, like, an episode to go, but I do highly recommend it. I will actually probably hopefully finish it this week. And they've already announced the new Dimension 20 show, which is all about fairy tales, but like it's horror themed because Halloween. I don't remember who any of the characters are. Was there like an ugly duckling? I think there's a Pinocchio. Pinocchio sounds right. I think there's a Little Red Riding Hood who's, probably also a werewolf. Or something like that. I don't know. Whatever it is, it looks pretty good. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's like, honestly, I seem to have the best stuff with the seasons where Abrea DMs. I love her style, man. She's so good at what she does. So is Brennan, but Brennan, I don't know. There's just something about Brennan that I've just never been able to fully get into. I don't know. But Court of Fey and Flowers has been great. Because, like, I started Starstruck Odyssey, got, like, 3 episodes in, and then one week I was just like, you know, I'll get around to it later. And the next thing you know, it was, like, 20 episodes in, and I was like, oh, shit. So, yeah, that's all I've got to talk about this week. I mean, we'll talk about Batman in a second. I'm just trying to think. Anything else? Oh, actually, yes, there is something else. Oh, shit. I watched an anime. Yeah, fuck. Oh, I didn't write this down. I watched an anime. It was called I'm Quitting Heroing. So, the setup to the show is that there's this guy, and he's the hero. He stops the Demon Lord, or the Demon... I don't remember if it's Demon Lord, Demon Queen... Something like that. It's Demon something. I'm gonna keep saying Demon Lord, because I think it's Demon Lord. He stops the Demon Lord and saves humanity. But afterwards, all of a sudden, everybody's scared of him. Right? Oh, he's so powerful. He handedly stopped the Demon Lord. Right? Everyone's scared of him. He gets banished from the country. So he's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go work for the Demon Lord and help her destroy humanity. So that becomes his new goal. So, of course, the Demon Lord doesn't trust him, but all the Demon Generals like him, because, you know, they all got to spend some time with him, learn about him, he learned about them. So he gets to spend some time with the Demon Generals. And, right, so they basically, he, like, goes into disguise and starts working for the Demon General to, you know, before they tell the Demon Lord. And, like, it's like, oh, look, he's been doing all this great stuff, you've got to let him join, even though the Demon Lord hates him. So, he starts doing that. And, right, you spend an episode with each of the Demon Lords as he goes around. He's improving the castle, right, making everything more efficient, helping out the Demon Generals. You get plenty of hints that it is an isekai. It's a little bit more complicated than that. So, I'm going to go full spoilers. But, yeah, it's a little bit more it is kind of an isekai. It's a little bit more complicated. But, right, eventually, of course, the Demon Lord does figure out that it's him. And it doesn't... I mean, it does not go over great. Because she, in his, disguise, she really likes him. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to make you the 5th Demon General. But, outside of, right, she hates the hero. And they have, these real, heart-to-heart conversations. Because her goal is not to destroy humanity or anything, but instead acquire the Philosopher's Stone. That the Philosopher's Stone as, the key to, because the world the demons come from is, it's basically the setup to, Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, where, right, in that game, Lorule is, this desolate wasteland that's been destroyed, and Hilda's goal... So this is also a spoiler for that game. Hilda's goal is to steal the Triforce and, you know, fix her broken world. That's the whole plot of that game. And yeah, the Demon Lord's goal is the same here. She wants to steal the Philosopher's Stone from the humans and fix the demon world because it's a desolate wasteland with very few resources and whatnot. Her father, or I think it's her father, tried 300 years ago, and now it's her turn to do it. But, you know, she's trying to do, instead of, killing all the humans, she's trying to be more, she's still taking over territory, but she's trying to be more peaceful until, of course, the humans stopped her. But she doesn't want to give up, so she's still around, and the hero didn't kill her, because the hero respects her. Because as you learn, the hero wants somebody to replace him. And he thinks that the Demon Lord would be a good, right, because she's a good person, so she'd be a good replacement. Because, as it turns out, what's eventually, so the hero's name is Leo. And he was one of 12 original heroes, all named after the Zodiac. I don't know if they ever actually say that, but that's a pretty solid guess. They might. I think they mentioned like someone named like Sagittarius at one point. But originally, so this world, this fantasy world, was originally Earth. So it's not an isekai. It's a post-apocalypse story. The world was originally Earth that then got invaded by demons. So the people of the world created the Philosopher's Stone, and with it, they created 12 advanced humans. Each of them specialized in something. And then those advanced humans fought off the Demon Lord at the time. And 11 of them died, with the exception of the hero. But, of course, people were scared of them and whatnot, so he went into hiding. Eventually, the world did end, and it reverted to, like, this feudal system with, right, kings and monarchs, but the world had ended, and, right, everyone, like, all the, like modern world just kind of became lost to history, and the hero just became, right, a hero. Anytime any big threat arose, he would stop it. And he was convinced that's his purpose. And eventually it drove him a little bit insane. Because, right, he's a hero. That's why he was created. That's why he exists. And he's become, like, at this point, he's become too strong to stop. Right? He's been around for, I want to say, they say, like, 3,000 years. And he's just become impossible to stop. No one can hurt him anymore. So he goes a little crazy. Because he was created to protect humanity. But there's nothing that threatens him or humanity anymore. So he instead has the idea to create a new threat. So he uses the same procedure that created him to create a bunch of new heroes. And then he's going to unleash these new heroes to destroy humanity. So that way the humans will need him to stop this new threat. He becomes the villain, basically. He's willing to destroy the world just to get a chance to save it. Because that's what he was created for. That's all he knows how to do. Of course, he doesn't realize... At the end of the show, he realizes that, oh no, that may be why he's created. But he thinks he's been, like, mind-controlled. But he doesn't realize that, no, he hasn't. He's just gone a little insane because he's 3,000 years old. But right as he's about to set this plan into motion and unleash all these, like, monsters to destroy humanity, he's like, he finds out that the Demon Lord has returned, and he realizes, like, oh, I've become a fucking monster. Someone really needs to kill me. So that's why he's like, oh, well, the new Demon Lord will be my successor, right? She'll kill me. She'll try to make the world a better place. That becomes his new plan. Because he ends up killing all his manufactured new heroes or villains or whatever. Because, yeah, he realizes he's a horrible person. So the Demon Lord and the generals are barely able to defeat him. So after defeating him, he's like, yeah, do it, kill me, take the Philosopher's Stone in my chest. And instead they refuse. And you're right, it kind of ends on this happier note of like, yeah, no, we're gonna... Right, yeah, we still have a lot of work to do, but we're going to do better, and I'm not going to kill you. You're going to help us do better. Because, yeah, he basically wanted them to, like, assist in his suicide. I mean, they don't put it like that entirely, but that's basically what they want. Or that's what he wants, anyways. Honestly, it was a decent show. Honestly, it was... I mean, again, it's not technically an isekai. It's technically a post-apocalypse. But it feels like an isekai at points. The hero is, fine. It's one of those, like, oh, he's like this typical over-OP hero who has, like, a business degree. So that makes him perfect at nation building. But, right, by what it works... is that they focus on just those 4 characters. Or those 5 characters. 6 characters? The Demon Lord, the 4 generals, and the hero. There are other characters briefly mentioned, right? Like, there's a few other characters who show up. Like, the one of the Demon Generals has a daughter. So when that Demon General, the Dragon one, tries, right, is like, oh, I failed, so now I'm going to end my life. Right? Commit seppuku. Right, she becomes an important player. There's a few other characters that you meet along the way, but nothing that important. It was a very simple show, but, you know, I enjoyed it. I know some people fucking hate isekais, mostly because they're all similar. And yeah, they totally are. They're totally just power fantasy wish fulfillment. But this one at least had a story it's trying to tell. This wasn't just power fantasy wish fulfillment. I mean, yes, the main character is OP, but there's more to it, right? Because he's so OP, he's in, like, great pain because of it. He's been around for 3,000 years. He's defeated countless demon lords. He just wants it to end. And, which, I mean, it's an interesting plot. I mean, you know, I don't want to get into the whole not eugenics, oh fuck, what's that, with assisted suicide? I don't remember what it's called. I'm not gonna get into that whole debate. It's not the first anime that I've seen tackle that. Is This a Zombie? That's specifically the plot of Is This a Zombie? Is right that the zombie has been alive for like 3,000 years, and he just wants it to end, and she refuses. And that makes him the main villain. Which, God, that show's... You know, everyone was like, oh, this show's so funny. Oh, I love This Is a Zombie. And then I watched it and I was like, what the fuck is this? This isn't funny at all. This is actually really, right, about the treatise on mortality. Right? This actually gets very dark at points. And not in, like, a funny, like, anti-humor sort of dark. But in, like, a just, like, oh my God. I don't know. People love that show and I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't find it funny at all. So yeah, that was that. So I guess let's talk about Gotham Knight, or Arkham Knight. So I've played, so Arkham Knight, so I've been doing this for the past few weeks, has been my mother's quest to beat the Batman games, before the new Batman game came out on Friday. So right, that was the goal, to beat all the Batman games. We did Arkham Asylum. It took like 2 months to do Arkham Asylum, because, you know, we slowly chipped away at it. She does not play video games, but it, you know, it went okay. She beat it. Then we did Arkham City. We sped through Arkham City. You know, we did like none of the side quests. It was mostly just like, hey, let's go through Arkham City, go from point A to point B. It went fine. Then was Arkham Knight. And I talked previously about how Arkham Knight started off. Right, and I was like, oh, it's more of the same. And then the second she got into the Batmobile, things just went to shit. Honestly, everything kind of fell apart. And so much of the game requires the Batmobile. Like, the game, because it was the cool new feature, the game keeps pushing you back into it. And, oh, God. But, you know, she played through the game. Honestly, Arkham City did not feel that long. It felt like we were able to quickly get through the story, doing minimal to no side questing. This game, we did absolutely no side questing. I don't even think we had 10 Riddler trophies when we beat the game. And yet, this felt by far the longest of them. I don't know, maybe it's because we were under such an intense, like, oh, the new game comes out in like 2 weeks. Oh shit, we've got to get through this. Because she wanted, right, I mean, if we hadn't beat it, you know, we wouldn't have, but we did. But it felt a lot more, like, the time limit felt a lot stricter. And I don't know, the game just felt longer. I mean, it gets right into it. But yeah, so the main twist of the Arkham Knight being Jason Todd, she figured out immediately. So I then spent the next, I don't know, 10 hours gaslighting her into being like, no, it might be the Joker. It might be Azrael. Oh, wait, there's Azrael's right there? Oh, shit, maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's the Joker. And then at one point you pull off the Arkham Knight's mask, and it's the Joker, and I was like, see? And of course it's revealed it's all Scarecrow hallucination. But yeah, I was like, see, there we go. But yeah, we did, like, none of the side quests. I mean, I think we did one Riddler thing, and we caught Man-Bat once, and that was it. But it was mostly just focusing on the Arkham Knight and the Scarecrow stuff. And honestly, there are a lot of improvements. traversal, not talking about the Batmobile here, because the Batmobile kind of feels like a nightmare sometimes. Actual, like, traversal, the map's a lot bigger in this game, but I feel like the actual traversal tools they give you to move around is just so much better. It feels so much faster and smoother to move around the city. Whereas Arkham City had a much smaller map, but sometimes moving around the city just felt so slow. This one, it feels faster. Combat feels quicker as well. Whereas I feel like in Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, because it's a lot of like, oh, you press a square button a bunch to build up a combo, and then you can do strikes, and you can throw batarangs and whatnot, but it's mostly a lot of hitting square button. And it felt like you had to hit square like 10 times to defeat an enemy in those games, and this one, it's like 3. I think you have to hit an enemy like 3 times. And this was on, of course, easier difficulties. I don't know, maybe they made easy easier. Maybe combat just felt more fluid. I don't know. Combat felt better in Arkham Knight. There was just something about it. Again, we're 3 games in at this point. So maybe it just naturally, it was more polished. I don't know if there was like more. Honestly, we rarely used upgrades. Like we got suit upgrades. That was about it. I don't know. I felt like you also like they give you a bunch of gear in this game, but because it's an open world game, you almost never need to use any of it. The most you have to use is the plastic explosives, and then you have to use like the remote control batarang and the zip liner like twice in the entire game. That's it. Most of the other all the other stuff you can basically just ignore. I mean, again, as long just on the main, I'm talking about the main story here. And then once you get they give you the electricity gun, like 80% of the way through the game, you then have to use that a bunch, but they give you it 80% of the way through the game. And then you have to use it to stun enemies. So yeah, that was a whole thing. But yeah, I just felt like combat was more fluid. Not in the oh my god, in the Batmobile it's a whole other thing. Yeah, I felt that was nice. But then, as a result, they end up throwing a lot more enemies at you. And god, they brought back the shield enemies. Shield enemies fucking suck. I don't know. I did not like the shield enemies. I don't really remember dealing with them in Arkham Asylum. Like, I don't remember them being that big of a deal. But in Arkham City, the shield enemies sucked. They were, because you have to, like, do a special combo to take them down. And they were just so annoying. And they work exactly the same way in this game. And they make new shield enemies in this one, where it's like, oh, it's this big guy who you have to disarm the shield. Then you have to, like, punch him a bunch. And it was annoying. It wasn't dealing with that. There was one combat encounter near the end of the game. I mean, I eventually had to take it. There were a few times near the end of the game where it was like, oh, yeah, okay, she couldn't beat it. She just straight up couldn't beat it. And it was like, yep, here you go. And even I struggled on it. It took... There was some stuff with that, and then there was some stuff in the Batmobile. Because there's certain enemies in the Batmobile where you have to sneak up behind them, and then you have to, like, trail them for a little bit, then you can take them out. And there's a few of those where they put out, like, there's like 8 or 10 of them. And those fucking sucked. Because they're always watching each other's peripherals, right? It's just a massive pain in the ass. Those sucked. You have to do that like 5 times. Always annoying. And then there were some of those like tank missions where you have to take out like 50 tanks. And nope, that was super annoying as well. That took forever. It was not hard. It just went on and on because you're taking out 50 tanks. So yeah, I did step in several times to, help her out. God, I hope things go better in Gotham Knights. I really do. I mean, it might, because, it's multiplayer, so I'll be playing one of the other characters to help her out, but we'll see. I mean, I can already tell you what happened, today. Because, yeah, we have already started, but we'll talk about that next. So yeah, Arkham Knight. I mean, I do think it's a good game, right? From everything I've seen, it seems very solid. It seems like it made a lot of good improvements. But the Batmobile stuff is annoying. And I also feel like, because, okay, so story beat what? I'm going to talk about story beats, and then I'll compare the three. Talk about which one's my favorite, just from watching all three of them. Story beat wise, so you're right, it's the Arkham Knight is Jason Todd. Okay, that one's fairly obvious. The main villain is Scarecrow. Joker's dead. Okay, makes sense. Scarecrow, I don't know. Scarecrow's one of those things where it's like, I feel like, yeah, he's definitely could be intimidating, but at the same time, he comes on like the radio, like sprouting out to you about like fear, and this city will know fear. And I don't know, I like the Joker's right. He's trying to be funny. Whenever the Joker was calling you on the radio, he was fucking with you. He was trying to be funny. Even Hugo Strange in Arkham City had this like authority presence. I just couldn't. I don't know. I just couldn't buy Scarecrow, especially when at the end he gets knocked out in a single punch. Scarecrow is like such a glass cannon. Oh my god. But, so yeah, Scarecrow is kind of whatever as a threat. But you do miss out on a lot by not doing the side quests. Like, you have to do, I'm pretty sure you have to do at least one Riddler thing, and you have to do one Penguin thing, which gets you to play as Catwoman and, Nightwing, respectively. You also get to play as, Tim Drake, the third Robin. That also happens at one point. That was cool. There's an entire mission where you have to take out these, like, people who are infected with Joker blood, and it makes them act like the Joker. They basically do 3 Jokers in this, but, I honestly, 3 Jokers is fucking stupid. I did like the Harley Quinn comics take on it. That was funny. Where, like, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker is, like, his college roommate. I don't know, but, right, there's, like, this whole 3 Jokers thing that highlights, oh, this one is the Joker as, like, the physical opponent. This is the Joker as, like, the charismatic one, and they give Joker a musical number. And then there's the third Joker who's, right, the sexual attraction to Batman. So they do their own 3 Jokers. Because throughout this entire game, once Batman gets exposed to fear toxin, he starts hallucinating the Joker. Because, he got infected with Joker's blood, so he's got and people who were infected with the Joker's blood, like, basically are becoming the Joker. I think I do remember that being something in the comics at some point for some reason. But yeah, it's kind of contrived, but whatever. It gets the Joker in this game. So instead, the Joker is basically, like, always following you as, like, a hallucination, trying to convince Batman to turn into the Joker. That's his whole thing throughout So even though he died at the end of the last game, oh, he's in this game plenty. Some of it is really funny. Honestly, some of it's pretty good. I especially love when you, like, fail in certain levels, and Joker's like, no, Bats, if you die, I die. Get back up there. That was good. There's a lot of shit like that works pretty well. So yeah, that was well. I enjoyed that. Sometimes it can be annoying, but sometimes it worked well. But yeah, and that was the one thing about this game is I feel like it has multiple, I feel like it was like, oh yeah, this is a good ending, right? Like, the game should end right here. But we haven't resolved the Joker storyline, so let's keep going for another, 2 hours. Right? It's like, oh, this would be a solid ending. We know who the Arkham Knight is now. Because, yeah, there's this whole... When you're helping out Tim Drake defeat the other Jokers, you get all these, flashbacks to Jason Todd being tortured. You find out Jason Todd... Whereas originally in the comics, Jason Todd was brought back by Superboy Prime punching the fabric of reality, which brought him back because comics are fucking stupid. And then later on, they retconned it that he was brought back by the Lazarus Pit and the League of Assassins. And this one, it's just that Jason Todd never died. That's how they do it in this one. That the Joker faked Jason Todd's death, and instead, he's been like, the Joker turned Jason Todd into the next, right, into his replacement, more or less. And he's been sitting, and right, he's been in the background training and gathering this army for years now. That's the setup here. So, and like, honestly, design-wise, once the Arkham Knight becomes the Red Hood, I just don't think it's a good design. One, like, Jason Todd has, like, a Joker brand. Just doesn't look good. Honestly, it's very... I know they do it for the visual reveal. So that way, when you see Jason Todd get branded in the flashback, and that way, when the Arkham Knight takes off its mask, he's got that branding, so you know, like... Because, right, sometimes... Because, like, there are other things where it's, like, the character reveal happens, and it's like, wait, who the fuck is that? ProZD did a video on it, right, making fun of specifically Big Hero 6, but yeah. So they're trying to avoid that, but it just... And then he gets the Red Hood, and it just doesn't look good. It's like all digital, which for the Arkham Knight I thought looked fine, but for Red Hood, you need the eyes. Like the new game, right, is like a much more faithful design. Looks way better. It's a much better design. Right now, of course, the one I do perfectly prefer is the Bat Family Adventures design, which I think looks great. But to be fair, that's like the first time I've actually liked Jason Todd. I don't really care for Jason Todd. I don't like Damian Wayne either. Nope. I prefer Tim Drake and Dick Grayson. Yep. I also prefer Cassandra Cain over Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. I also like Stephanie Brown as Batgirl. I feel like it's a very good. It's very good for the character, but yeah, we always got to go back to Batgirl, right? We always got to go back to Barbara Gordon, and I guarantee if they ever bring a Robin into the movies, it's going to be Dick Grayson, right? They're just gonna go straight to Dick Grayson because they always got to go to Dick Grayson, or fucking whatever the fucking Christopher Nolan movie did. Oh, people call me Robin. Ugh. So yeah, plot-wise, so I knew about the Arkham Knight reveal, and I knew Joker's hallucination. They kill off Barbara Gordon at one point, and it was like one of those things where it's like, would they really kill off Barbara Gordon? Because I didn't know. I didn't know they killed her off. I was like, oh shit, are they actually gonna kill off Barbara Gordon? Holy shit, like, are we gonna go... And, like, Gordon finds out, or at least finds out that, Barbara's been kidnapped. And, like, I'm like, oh shit, is it gonna go over the edge? Because he definitely figures out that Batman is Bruce Wayne. Right? The death of Barbara, or Barbara even just getting kidnapped, is enough for him to figure it out. Because Barbara dies. And it's like, did this really happen? It looks like it did. No, it's a fake out. And then, once you find out she is alive, it's when Jim Gordon betrays you. Because, yeah, Jim Gordon betrays you to save his daughter, and then he gets double-crossed by Scarecrow. But you are able to save Barbara. And it's kind of implied that, yeah, he intentionally, like, he knew that by, right, shooting Batman, he was saving his daughter, because Scarecrow was going to betray him. But yeah, so that's one of the fake out deaths. There's a point where where Tim Drake gets locked up, because he tells Batman, like, hey, you're infected, you should go in the cell, you're going to, right, like, this isn't going to end well for you. And honestly, Tim Drake is right. I don't know, Tim Drake, would say is always the voice of reason, but on matters like I think of the episode from the animated series Never Fear, where he recognizes that fighting the Scarecrow Batman's been infected and he's not in the right state of mind and he betrays Batman, but he's doing it for his own good, right? Because Batman almost kills the Scarecrow in that episode. So, right, that's what it's like here. Like, oh, well, right, the Joker has infected you. You're not in the right state of mind. So, yeah, and then, but of course he betrays Tim, and Tim gets captured. But yeah, you find out what the Arkham Knights deal is. There's a boss battle with the Arkham Knight. It's okay. You know, it was okay. And then at the end, it looks right. Scarecrow's got you cornered. He's got Jim Gordon. He's got Tim Drake. You're going to, and he's like, yeah, surrender yourself. Be prepared to reveal your secret identity. And it's like, oh, and then you're driving in this car, and it's like, oh, is the Arkham Knight gonna break you out? Like that, right? Jason Todd, right? Because there's this whole moment of like Jason, telling Jason Todd that like, oh, things are gonna be better now, right? Like there's still time to, don't become an evil villain. It's honestly kind of hand-waved. Like, there could have been more there, but whatever. But, it looks like, oh, he's gonna break you out of jail. The Arkham Knight's gonna break you out of jail. And that would have been cool. Honestly, that would have been pretty cool. I thought that's where the word's going, but instead you get this whole, like, you go to Crime Alley, you see your dead parents, you fight a bunch of Jokers, kind of like fighting Agent Smith in the second Matrix movie. Also the third movie, I guess, as well. I don't know, it reminded me of fighting Agent Smith in the Matrix movies. So yeah, you do that, and then you kill the Joker, and it's revealed that the whole car crash and everything was also in your mind. You know, when Arkham Asylum did the whole in your mind thing, it was really cool and very effective. And my hope was like, oh, I want the Spider-Man game to do the same thing with Mysterio. After seeing that same thing done in Arkham Asylum and Arkham Knight, right, where you see these moments and it's like, is this real? Is this all in your head? I don't know if it works in an open world game. Because yeah, Arkham Asylum Arkham Knight tries to do that same thing where it's like, what's in your head, what's real? And it's just not as effective. It's just not, like, the moment of you fighting a bunch of Jokers over your dead parents and then killing them. It's like, what? But even though they faked out Barbara Gordon's death, even though they do some other fake outs, at the end, right, Batman is captured, Scarecrow unmasks him. And, like, they easily had the setup for this to be a fake out. Right? This could have easily been a fake out. But no, it's not. Batman gets unmasked. People know his secret identity. Which, is that something? Like, like, right, in the lead up to Civil War, Spider-Man's secret identity was revealed, and then it was undone in One More Day, right? Infamously. Has Batman ever been revealed like that? Like, I know there was Batman Incorporated, where it became public knowledge that Bruce Wayne was funding Batman, but I don't think Batman's secret identity has ever been revealed. That would be an interesting storyline. But I don't think that's ever happened before. Not that I can think of anyways. I know Batman kind of died that one time in Final Crisis, but that was admittedly a total cop-out. Because, surprise, surprise, fucking he was traveling back through time, and God, don't even get me started. I don't even know if that series is good. The Batman time-traveling stuff. It sounds like it would be fun, but I don't honestly know. But yeah, so yeah, Batman's secret identity is revealed, and yeah, at the end of the game, they stick to it. His secret identity is totally exposed. They do bring up the idea that, oh, once people know who Batman is, he can no longer inspire fear in criminals. He's not effective anymore. So they bring up that, and that's the secret ending, which we'll talk about. But yeah, eventually you're able to, in your own mind, there's this entire, you know how like in the Arkham Asylum, they do the whole segment where you get to play as the Joker, and you redo the opening of the game? They do that here, but you get to play through as the Joker, and you go around murdering a bunch of villains from the game. You shoot Two-Face. You shoot, the Penguin. You shoot... do you shoot Scarecrow? You might. Right? There's a whole Joker car segment. there's a part that's basically an FPS game where you go to Joker's because Batman's like in his own head, Batman's trying to convince the Joker that he will one day be forgotten, right? To try to scare him. And you go, so you see the Joker's funeral and Harley's crying at it. And so there's this whole like FPS sequence where, right, you're going around shooting like weeping angel Batmans. It's you know, it goes on for a while, and honestly, I think that's why it works. I do not think it's as effective as Arkham Asylum's, but I do think because, right, they stick to it, they commit to it for a bit. The game, and that's the ending of the game. Like the game, like technically, you have this big fight scene with you have like there's like a bunch of boss, right? You fight Arkham Knight in a car boss fight. Then you fight Red Hood Arkham Knight in like this sequence where you're going between statues and stealthing around and whatnot. Then you fight, then you do this like 50 car battle thing, right? So you basically have like 3 final boss fights, right? 2 with the car, 1 with the Arkham Knight. I don't feel like there's a like yeah, you have to clear out the Belfry at one point. There's also this whole segment to save Commissioner Gordon. And yeah, I mean, you also do fist fighting in that. But really, the final boss fight of this game is this whole segment with the Joker, right? Where you're playing as the Joker and then you go in Batman's mind. And honestly, it's for like a final boss fight, it's very understated by that means. Like, it's not hard at all. But honestly, I think that's for the best, especially because some of the stuff you dealt up to that point was just fucking bullshit. God, everything to do with defending the police station was a pain in the ass. My God, what a pain. But yeah, the final, yeah, it's not hard, you know, it's more symbolic than anything else. As right, you play, like, Batman doesn't use guns, so the Joker segment is a shooter. But yeah, and then afterwards you overcome the Joker, you defeat Scarecrow because you don't fear him, and then yeah, that's where the game ends. Scarecrow's arrested, Barbara's safe, Tim's safe, Gordon's safe, Poison Ivy dies, because there's an entire subplot that Poison Ivy is helping you deal with Scarecrow's gas, and she, like, this was right around the time when they started writing Poison Ivy as a hero in the comics. And the Poison Ivy design in this game, I still don't love the outfit, but the hair is so much better. God, because the hair in the previous 2 games was just so bad. But they fixed the hair in this one. And I still don't love the outfit. I wish they had given her a different outfit. But it's better. It's better, I do think. And yeah, they give the Poison, one of the few characters who actually does die is Poison Ivy. So that was good. Right, that's a good little moment, because yeah, Poison Ivy is generally helping you out at several occasions, and she does save the city, kind of. Because yeah, again, this game feels like it has multiple endings. At least multiple things that are like ending adjacent. I really need to get out of this carbon roller. Oh, I was cornered. So yeah, and then so they're really like you beat the Arkham Knight, you beat the Scarecrow, you overcome the Joker, and there's no credits, there's no end, right? Like it just ends like that, right? Like and Batman says like activate the Nightfall Protocol, but that only happens after you 100% the game. So we did like no side quests, we did no Riddler trophies. We did none of the Arkham Knight bases. We did none of the side content. So I was just like, you know what? Screw it. Let's look up the true ending. Right? We've seen the story. Let's just see what the true ending is on YouTube. So we looked it up. And the true ending is basically for 100%ing everything. Since you've cleaned up the city, well, hey, that's good. Now Batman can finally rest. So he puts down the mask. The bat signal is destroyed. And he leaves. He goes home. And he blows up his house with him and Alfred in it. And that's where the game ends. Yep, there is no more Batman. I mean, again, is it a fake out death? I mean, probably. But that's where the game ends. with effectively a fake out with a Batman's death. Because I think the game starts with being like, I think the game starts with the death of Batman, right? By saying that, like, this is the night the Batman died. And yeah, sure enough, because of his secret identities revealed, Batman's not effective anymore, so yeah, he basically ends it. Of course, I definitely do think it's a fake out. And then, right, there's a final scene, which is the recreation of Batman, right? Some little kid in an alley, robbers come up to mug his parents, but there's this new, like, monster Batman, right? This Batman made from fear that comes in and, prevents some Terry McGinnis kid from getting Batman. They don't call him Terry McGinnis, but I don't know. I just think of that scene from Justice League Unlimited where they literally where Terry McGinnis' parents were supposed to be Batman, and then the Phantasm couldn't do it. So yeah, that's kind of right. Like, that's what it is. And there's like this whole monster Batman. What does it mean? It's more symbolic than anything else. Like, I don't think it's actual monster Batman. Yeah, it's a... if they killed off the Joker, he no longer has control over Batman. Like, even in the Flash, like, in the memory, right, in Batman's mind, when you fight the Joker and defeat him, it's literally a callback to the first time you see him free in Arkham Asylum. This was clearly the end of the series. And you know that because the Gotham Knights takes place in an alternate timeline. So, right, Arkham Knight was the end of the Batman series. Wish we had gotten a Superman game. There's tons of references throughout this game to, right, Lex Luthor. And for a second it even feels like, God, is Lex Luthor funding this whole thing? Because they reference him several times. Especially near, like, the last, like, third of the game. Like, I think they say Lex Luthor's name before they say Jason Todd's name in this game. But no, instead it's Simon Stagg, who... Simon Stagg as a name is so familiar, but I couldn't tell you who he is. Is he the guy who accidentally created Clayface? Stagg Industries? Yeah. Because I know there's... GothCorp created Mr. Freeze. I don't remember the guy's name, but I know it's not Stagg, but I know it was GothCorp. Created Mr. Freeze. Simon Stagg might have created Two-Face. Or maybe it's related to the Scarecrow. Maybe... I swear Scarecrow originally worked at the university. He was a university student, or a professor. I don't know. Stag sounds familiar. But yeah, you find out here. But there's so... I wish we had gotten a... Honestly, Rocksteady doing a Superman game. I know it's hard to do a Superman game. I have a whole pitch for a Superman game, but I'm not going to get into that tonight. We've been going long enough already. But yeah, I have a whole idea for how to do a Superman game. I'm amazed I survived that. Wow. But yeah, so as the games as a whole, I still think my favorite is Arkham Asylum. Because I know, right, there's this whole debate about what's better, open world games or linear games. But part of me, because, right, I hear people in, like, Pokemon. Pokemon fans always complain that Pokemon games are too linear. But, like, is that really a problem? And yeah, playing through some of these games, right, playing through them, Arkham Asylum is a linear game. But as a result, it's able to tell a much more concrete, cohesive story. So I still think Arkham Asylum is probably my favorite. But I liked Arkham City. I still love the fact that instead of just, right, it uses all, right, there were a bunch of villains in Arkham, right, Asylum. Right, there's a bunch of Batman villains that just weren't in Arkham Asylum, and all of them show up in Arkham City. Oh, Arkham Asylum didn't use Mr. Freeze, Two-Face, and the Penguin? Well, hey, they're in Arkham City now. And technically that's still true of, the new, right, Arkham Knight, because I don't think Man-Bat's in Arkham City, and he shows up in here. I don't think, Anarchy was in Arkham City and he shows up here. I don't know, he might have been. Of course, all 3 games use the Joker. All 3 games use Poison Ivy. They all use Harley Quinn. Yeah. I'm trying to... I swear there's one other that's in all 3. I don't think Killer Croc is in... he might... He's mentioned in Arkham City, but I don't remember actually ever seeing him. Like, you go to the sewers more than once. Ra's al Ghul is... Right, he's in Arkham City, and... Yeah. He dies in Arkham City, right? I know Talia does, and they bring that up. Like, you find Talia's sword at one point that Joker used to kill her. So, yeah. I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of polish. You know how, like, right, Breath of the Wild is a good game, but some people will never love it because of weapon durability. I feel like that's the Batmobile in Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight is a really good game, but some people will never love it because of the Batmobile. And they're completely correct to do so. But yeah, Arkham Knight was good. I don't know, I definitely have to play it for myself, I think. Right? Like, watching somebody else play it and actually playing it are 2 different things. And I guess I'm more biased towards Arkham Asylum, because it's the one I actually, like, fully played. And I also do feel like if you don't do the side quests, you're missing out on stuff. Right? Not doing the side quests, especially in Arkham Knight. Because I feel like there's, like, so much setup. One of the weird things in Arkham City is that if you don't do the side quests at a certain time, you just straight up, like, can't do... Like, if you don't do them when they come up, you can't do them. Whereas this game is a lot more... Right, at the end of the game, you can go back and do all the side quests. Right? Like, there are times where, like, certain ones get... Especially when the city gets covered in the cloudburst, that they get locked out. But no, for the most part, right, you can still do them. And I feel like I definitely am missing something by just not doing any of the side quests. Like, I feel like there's a lot there. And there's a reason why it definitely feels like there's, like, an ending locked behind that 100%ing the game. I feel like 100%ing the game is a little ridiculous, especially when there's 400 fucking Riddler trophies. But, yeah. I don't know. It's... If I were to rank them, I would say, right, Asylum at 1, City at 2, Night at 3. But also, that kind of feels like wrong. Like, right, I feel like maybe I'd switch City and Night. Right, I'd put Night at 2, but I don't know. I enjoyed all 3. So that takes us into the new game that came out, Gotham Knights. So, yeah, Gotham Knights... I took it over, right, picked it up, took it over, we beat the game earlier in the week. We beat Arkham Knight. So now it was like, oh, Gotham Knights. Okay, boom, it's out. So I took it over, we played the first, like, hour-ish? Not much. I plan to head back tomorrow for, you know, a Sunday night dinner, play some more. But just like, it was just like, okay, let me make sure everything works, let's start it up. How is Gotham Knights? And it definitely starts off, like, you know how, like, Arkham Asylum starts off with, like, an hour, like, a half hour of taking Joker through the corridors, which is very good for building atmosphere. But, right, it definitely starts off a little slower. This game, right, it starts off with a long cutscene about the death of Bruce Wayne. Hey, teary-eyed princess, how you doing tonight? So yeah, the game starts off with a long cutscene about the death of Bruce Wayne. There's no fake out or anything, right? There's no, like, trick, like, is this the death of Bruce Wayne? Is he actually dead? Like, no, straight up, Bruce Wayne is dead. Of course, comic books, and for anybody comes back. I mean, Jason Todd's sitting right fucking there. So, right, and I think also Tim Drake and Nightwing have both died at other points. So yeah, literally anything is possible with comic books. But yeah, no, the game starts off with a very serious Bruce Wayne is dead. They also the guy who murdered him is also dead. So that's very interesting. And then, yeah, you slowly, right, you go around, you get some tutorials, right? You get some combat tutorials, some movement tutorials. You get to the stealth tutorial. So, right, so it's my mother playing it, and she's playing as Red Hood. Because I haven't said this. I'd hinted at this in the past, right? But part of the reason she was so excited for this game is because, right, one of her favorite characters is in it. And, spoiler alert, and it's kind of hinted at, the fact that she figured it out in 2 words. She loves Red Hood. Her favorite Batman character is Red Hood. So she was super excited to play as Red Hood. So you do in this game, the stealth tutorial is the police station. You have to sneak into the police station to get some information off of one of the doctor who created the Man-Bat. I'm forgetting his name, but I know it's the Man-Bat doctor. So she goes in to sneak into the police station. And, right, I know this game works a little differently, right? Like, I know there are light and heavy attacks. I know some things work a little differently. But she goes in to play this game. And it's the stealth tutorial. And it's like, okay, you gotta sneak around the police station. But stealth is optional. Even though this is the stealth tutorial, stealth is optional. So anyway, she started blasting. And she just fucking shot all the cops and beat them up. Oh my god, for a stealth tutorial, it feels like we're starting off at base 1 again. Which, is fine. She doesn't play... Watching my mother play through video games makes me realize how much we take for granted. Having played video games my entire life, there is so many little details that we just straight up take for granted. Hey, Timmy, how you doing? Like, an example. You know how, like, in certain games, at the very top of the screen, there's, like, a compass that points out north, south, east, and west, and then, like, which location the objective is. So, like, the objective will be highlighted as, like, a triangle. She doesn't get that. Right? The whole compass thing, it just boggles her mind. And she, like, struggles to, like, be like, I'll tell her, like, oh, your objective is to the right, the east. So you have to turn around, go one, and I'll tell her, like, make a 180. And, right, for, like, if you've been playing video games long enough, that's just something natural that you figure out. Right? Because we've been doing it for so long. It feels so natural. But she just doesn't play games, so it's like, it takes her a second. And, right, I'm patient. At least I'm trying to be patient. And, I mean, we've been doing this for 3 games now, so trust me, I can deal with it. But it's just, it gives me perspective into these things. Now, there are some things in this game where it's like, before in, like, the previous games, if you want to enter a door, you press X. In this game, you have to hold X. It's a very minor detail, but it does matter. And so I was like, this is a game made in current year. A lot of games made in current year have accessibility options. I wonder if there's an accessibility option where instead of holding X, she can just tap it. And you know what? There was. So that's very good. I turned on all those accessibility settings for her. Because she's been playing through these games on easy. And this game had easy and very easy. Which, I wonder if very easy is too easy, but, we'll see. But no, she's excited to play the game. Right now, she's kind of disappointed that it's starting off very slow, but it'll get there. Hopefully. It'll get there. But yeah, no, she enjoyed them. She enjoyed all 3 of the 3 Arkham games, as they are really good representations of Batman. Flaws and all. So yeah, I'm hoping she enjoys Gotham Knight, but we'll see. We just started it. We're like an hour in. I'm doing good. Just got drawing up on my wall. 3 in the morning. Because there was nothing to do, and come on. Baby wipes anyway. So who cares? But anyway, yeah, something isn't beautiful because it lasts. Yeah, so Batman, it's just, like, she hasn't even unlocked multiplayer yet. We're not even that far enough in the game where I could, like, join her. I, myself, haven't even touched the game. So, yeah. So I haven't even started. I, of course, have them. All right. So I haven't even touched. And this one I'm actually going to play. Like, I'm going to... Since it does support multiplayer, I'm actually going to join her and play it with her. And I'm sure, you know, I'm sure something will come up. All right, I'm sure there will be some struggles. But I hope it all turns out well. I hope it all works out in the end. But that's still a ways away. Yeah, I'm heading back over tomorrow for a Sunday dinner, so I'm sure we'll play some more. But yeah, she was super excited to play more. Or she was enjoying Arkham Knight. She was super excited to go back more into it, even if the car segment sucked and it did get hard at the end. Like, even for easy, yeah, it was kick. Admittedly, right, I only played so much, but yeah, they're good games. The Batman games are really good. I would love to see them take on the Superman. I know the Rocksteady's doing... This is made by a different studio than the ones who did the first three. I know it's an alternate timeline, and I get it why it is. But it seems like a very... I hope it's good. I hope Gotham Knights is good. Right? Like, the other three games I knew were good. Right? I know Arkham Knight infamously had problems on PC, but we're not playing on PC. We're playing on PlayStation. And it was lucky because I didn't have to pay a dime for any of the three previous games. I just owned them all already through, I think through PS Plus. They had given all of them away for free at some point or another. But yeah, so I don't really have any, like, complicated thoughts on Gotham Knights. I'm just bringing it up to say, like, hey, we've started it. Seems a little slow at the start, but hopefully everything works out. Combat definitely works a little differently with light and heavy attacks and whatnot. But, you know, hopefully it all turns out well. We'll see how things go when we're working together. Because, like, it's definitely like, oh, when I get to the stealth segment, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to play the stealthy. Meanwhile, yep, here I go blasting again. So, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It's going to be interesting to see how it's going to work, right, when we're in separate places. When I'm not like, oh yeah, you should go there, you should press that. You know, after she gets completely lost. Yeah, I hope it all works out. Because I do want her to like these games. And then, who knows, maybe I'll get her to try other stuff. I mean, we started a family Minecraft world. In which she has... I don't even know. Because we've done one for every update. So we did one for 1.17, we did one for 1.18, and we did one for 1.19. I don't even know if she played on 1.19. But Minecraft and Batman are two completely different things. Right? Like, they're just two completely different styles of game. I knew you were around there somewhere. So I guess that takes us to the end of the night. So yeah, we'll definitely be talking more about Batman, more about Gotham Knights, right? Especially once I start sinking my teeth into it next week. But it's been a fun journey, you know? Have there been some struggle? Honestly, the biggest struggle was either the Batmobile stuff or the end of Arkham Asylum. Some of this, like, because the last, like, because, right, well, like, the end of Arkham Asylum and the end of Arkham Knight were, like, done in these, like, big marathons, right, of, like, several hours. And it just, those got to me. Like, specifically the Arkham Asylum one. Doing Poison Ivy for, like, an hour and a half. I was patient. But, yeah, those got to me. But, meanwhile, when we did Arkham Knight, if something had taken that long, she would eventually just have it and be like, you take care of it. Because we had the game came out fucking yesterday, so we had, right, it was like, we want to beat this by the time the new one comes out. She wants to play as Red Hood. And I think there is, like, a Red Hood DLC. We never even touched the DLCs for Arkham Knight, so who knows. I didn't touch the DLCs for Arkham City either. Like, I know there was a Harley Quinn DLC. I'm pretty sure there was a Nightwing one. It was neat when you could play as those characters for those DLCs. So yeah, anything else in the outro here? Not that I can think of. I think I'm done for the night. Honestly, I thought tonight was going to be a little shorter. But somehow WIBE went on long. Honestly, for going in with nothing, WIBE went on a lot longer than I expected it to. And hey, look there. Two run speed and a fire rate up. Not bad. Not bad at all. So yeah, I think that's where we're gonna end off for tonight. Yeah, you know, honestly tonight matches went pretty bad. Like the carbon roller. I know why everyone's using the Flingza roller, and I know why everyone's using the and the normal roller is also pretty decent. Carbon just nah. And I don't remember how they screwed up the dynamo. I know something's wrong with the dynamo. Actually, no, the dynamo seems fine. Honestly, it's mostly the special. The carbon, I just don't like the carbon roller special. Whereas Flingza's got missiles, which is pretty good. Dynamo has cooler, and this has bubble, which are both good. Right, these are both good supports. So yeah, honestly, I feel like all the roller. Carbon is probably the weakest, but the rest of the rollers seem pretty good. Yeah. I fully expect this game to get an update, right? I think next... I don't know. Nintendo's such a weird fucking company. Like, we know they're gonna support the game for at least a year, if not 2. With Splatfest. We know there's gonna be DLC. I don't think it's gonna be announced until the summer. Honestly, I fully expect the DLC to come a year later. Like, so in, what, September of next year? I don't know, it could be... Because I think Octo Expansion was a full year after release. It was in, like, June, and the game came out in July of the previous year. So I think we've got a while to wait on that one. But, like, update-wise, I can see them start adding second weapon kits. I think that could happen anytime now. Honestly, I kind of wish they would start... I kind of wish they had already started on that. If they had already started rolling out secondary weapons. I mean, to be fair, I'm only, what, level 21? I haven't even unlocked all the weapons yet. But I know there are definitely people who have put much more time into this than me. But if you want to level up, you have to do anarchy battles. Regular turf just doesn't get you enough levels. But regular turf is also less demanding, so it's easier to talk over. That's why we always do regular... Off-stream, I don't play regular turf. It's easy to talk over regular turf. Whereas something like Splat Zones, I actually have to focus on and figure out what's going on. Right? It's why Fall Guys is nice, because I don't need to think as much over Fall Guys. Still always forget this roll. I used the roll once during battle earlier, and then other than that, I always forget it exists. I still think the best use of it is that, though, jumping off an object and then doing that. That's so cool. If it ever works, it's so cool to do. Yeah, I should probably go to bed. It's late at night. So next week we'll be back, of course, with more... Maybe we should do a Fall Guys. Maybe we should do Fall Guys for the first time in, like, months. Because I have not played the season at all. I mean, I think I've played for, like, I don't know, like, maybe 2 hours. Maybe we should do some Fall Guys for the first time in a while. I don't know. I'm not really too picky on things. Video-wise, the highlights of the Thanks to Them review came out today. So that's up on YouTube right now on the main channel. So you can go find that. Right, they're just highlights from the stream last week. I did actually get I played Animal Crossing for the first time in, like, since, like, March, just to get the thumbnail for that video. Because I had to go get new pictures for the thumbnail. So yeah, I actually booted up Animal Crossing for the first time in a long time. Just to do that one. My town's a fucking mess. Like, everything's gone to shit. My house is filled with cockroaches. But yeah, I got the thumbnail. I think it looks nice. You know, because it was the Halloween episode. Because it was a Halloween episode. I wore my Halloween costume from, what, 2 fucking years ago for that video. For the thumbnail. It was cute. And it was fitting because witch, you know. So yeah, that's up. I don't know if I'm going to be doing highlights anytime soon. Like, I really should get the highlights up. Like, it would be smart to do the highlights for both Amphibia and Dead End Paranormal Park. Also Harley Quinn Season 3. Get all those from all the separate streams into one giant video. That would be smart of me to do. But it also takes time. And time is not really a thing I have. So yeah, I like, honestly, that would be a clever thing, but I don't think I will. Not anytime soon. I mean, if I would, I probably would get out Dead End Paranormal Park. Because I still need to watch the second season. Because I've got to watch that. I've got to watch the second season of that. I've got to watch Bee and Puppycat. And I've got to watch Cyberpunk. All those 3 things I've been pushing off because of Amphibia. Which I think between those 3, honestly, it's probably going to end up being Bee and Puppycat first. I don't know, like, the anime, I'm Quitting Heroing, I meant to talk about last week, because I finished it. Because, right, I had been slowly working on that for, like, a few weeks now, and I finally finished it. Yeah. But yeah, I still need to finish Amphibia. Since we last talked about it, I think I've only seen, like, 2 more episodes. Yeah. So that'll come in the future. As will, whatever else. But yeah, next week we'll be back, maybe in Fall Guys, maybe not, I don't know. Haven't really decided. And we'll talk about, definitely more Gotham Knights. There's nothing on TV right now. Rick and Morty's on mid-season hiatus. She-Hulk's finished. I don't think... I think the next Marvel project, well, besides for Black Panther, which, yeah, definitely, like, I already bought tickets for that. Oh, fuck, we didn't talk about Black Adam. It was okay. We'll talk more about it next week. Fuck, I did see Black Adam, and I completely forgot to talk about it. Shit. It was okay, honestly, I don't recommend it. Like, there are worse ways there are definitely worse movies to see, especially out right now. But, yeah, it was not anything that special. It was not the worst thing. Honestly, DC movies are so bad that it's actually one of the better DC movies. But even then, it was just okay. And part of me feels like I'm being very lenient on it. We'll talk more about it next week. Fuck, I forgot to talk about it. Honestly, I just completely forgot. But Black Panther's in, what, like 3 weeks? And, yeah. So yeah, that's where I've been stalling for a while now. I really should have looked at the art. Yeah, fuck. I cannot believe I completely forgot to talk about that. Honestly, I didn't even check the news stories this week. I just knew about the Silent Hill one, and I knew about the Pokemon stuff. And I was just like, nothing else really matters. Oh, look, Amphibia. There is no Halloween Splatfest this year. That kind of sucks. Normally there... Oh, wow. Look at that. Normally there would be a Halloween Splatfest right about now. That would, usually be... It would probably have been next week. Nothing. Instead, the next Splatfest we're getting is, the Pokemon one in early November. God, the Splatoon community is so fucking weird. Cat. Yeah, like, God, the Splatoon community is fucking weird. I need to play more of this game. Honestly, once I got A rank, I just stopped touching it. We didn't even do Grisco. I don't even know what the Grisco map is. I know they're doing another random at the end of October. So it looks like that's where we're ending off for tonight. Yeah. Next week, yeah, we'll be back with something. I don't know. And we'll do Pikmin 3 eventually. I know I keep talking about doing it. Honestly, it's gonna... If we do, it's gonna butt up with Pokemon. Because, Pokemon is gonna be November, 18th or something like that. And we're gonna do a lot of Pokemon. My hope is, besides for Thanksgiving, to do, like, a week of Pokemon. That sounds great in my head. But we'll see about that. Yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, for now, this is where we're going to end off. So I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time. Peace.